What up, everybody? Happy July, which for us nerds, that means Criterion season, aka we're doing a Criterion Cast today per the idea of Bill Griff, which is a great idea. And today we're going to do underrated Criterions, which is basically a part 2 to a video that we did with Carlos actually back in November. So this is going to be like another round of films that we're going to recommend you could blind buy or just watch on the channel or not, whatever. We're just going to be talking about films that we love that are kind of under the radar. And then we're going to do what every Criterion YouTuber does, talk about what films should be inducted into the Criterion catalog, meaning films that aren't on Criterion that should be released on Criterion. And I think, Carlos, didn't you already do a video like years ago with that same sort of topic?
Yeah, I did 2 videos actually. And funny enough, the number 1 spot in the first video I did was Festin, and it got a Criterion release.
That's right. Yeah, you
that's so based.
It. That's
awesome.
And then I made another one, I think a year ago. Honestly, I'm due for a part 3, so I might make one before the month ends.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Bill Griff is here also, who's also a king of Criterion YouTube. First of all, Bill, how are you, sir? How's your throat?
I'm doing all right. I still have strep, mind you, but it is in the recovery phase. I'd like to think. I'm very humbled and honored to be a part of this particular podcast topic. Is this the best time to do it? Also, I'm just really hyped for us to dive into these films, dive into Criterion.
Me too. Too. Thanks for coming back. And I should mention that Perry was going to be a part of this, but he's going to be coming in probably like an hour or so late, just to jump in. So we'll have a surprise appearance from Perry.
Yeah.
And I want to say,
jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got word that his haul was delayed at Barnes & Noble. Apparently bought, I guess that's what happens when you buy 300 plus movies at a place.
The dump truck was stopped by a train, so we can't.
The Criterion dump truck.
So like the load was so heavy in the delivery van that it like crashed, like it just stopped in its tracks.
Imagine seeing like a garbage truck with a giant like C on the side.
That's like that janitor that works at the Criterion closet.
Oh yeah. Somebody actually did tell me that. True story.
Whoa. Maybe we'll get a surprise appearance from them.
AKA it's Gaspar Noé from the closet video. He's the janitor of Criterion.
Be like, guys, I need to tell you the insights of what they're putting in. Barbie.
He can tell you it's not one of his films.
Yeah.
For some reason, Criterion fucking hates Gaspar Noé.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, why?
Oh, yeah.
Why does he have 0 films on there?
Wasn't there an Enter the Void Criterion they had planned, and then something happened between him and the company, and then they just scrapped it?
I believe so. Yep.
I think there was disagreements on like the restoration is what they said. I think because like a lot of them, like Wes Anderson has like hands-on approval for how they restore his films. So I feel like Gaspar was just like, nah, I'm not into the way you guys are. And he went to Vinegar Syndrome, so good on him.
Yep.
We love him. Quick like intro question that my roommate actually thought of. What's your guys' favorite Criterion Hall video? From the closet. I mean, not from like.
Oh, okay.
Like closet picks. I'm about to be like Nathan Hale, Luke Mick, all those guys.
To be honest, I don't really watch a lot of them. But from the ones that I have seen, the one I like the most is obviously the Gaspar Noé one's fantastic. Just iconic as hell. The most
infamous one, yeah.
The Safdie brothers one is so fucking good.
I feel like that's the perfect embodiment of what a Criterion fan would do if they were in there. They just hoard everything.
Just get everything possible and run out of room in the bag. Yeah, that's like
pulling a Perry and the Criterions are falling out of the bag. Yeah, that's a great video. The recent Ari Aster one's really good too.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Dardennes were just there. They've had like a lot of great filmmakers come through there since like they started doing that whole concept. So My Barry Jenkins is too, because he's so polite, but he just like keeps going back. He's like, actually, one more. Wait, no, one more. And then the last thing he grabs is like the Demi box set or something. It's like, all right, I'm gone.
Oh yeah,
It's just, just iconic. Yeah.
Very telltale.
Yeah. I mean, like if one of us were ever to go in there, I feel like it'd be like scratching our chin, trying to act intelligent, but then you're like, I'll grab everything that I don't own already because I'm already a collector. So that's always fun. Yeah. But yeah, shall we dive in? Most underrated.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean these are some of my favorite videos to do because it's always like talking about a few underseen, kind of under talked about films. Like, so you know, I love doing this. So, Bill, do you want to start with your first underrated Criterion film?
Sure thing, Jake. It was really difficult. Obviously, there's so many fucking Criterions out there to just narrow it down like that. But I am going with my tried and true recommendation to anybody that's getting into the Criterion collection, because I love devastating films that make you sad and upset and hate life. And this is spy number 201. So spy number 201, pretty early in the collection, Umberto D from Vittorio De Sica, 1952. Nice. Maybe the cover is showing up on the video right now if you have not heard of this film. But look, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's an old man holding a dog, and he looks like he's crying. It like just that image alone can just embody all sorts of emotions. And when I saw that cover, it really intrigued me to check it out. And yeah, it is without a doubt one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen in my life. I feel like a lot of contemporary films that deal with old people, like Up is a good one that I can think of, was inspired heavily from Umberto D. And I do not want to spoil it at all, but it is about an old man who really has nothing going for him in life. This is post-World War II Italy. So everyone's struggling. They kind of went into a Great Depression era afterwards because no one wanted to support a fascist country. So old ass man by himself, he uses all the money he can to provide food for his dog. Like that's the only thing he has left in his life is this little dog that knows all these tricks, like to hold his hat in the streets like a beggar asking for money. And it's just such a heartbreaking story, but I think it's a really essential movie to check out, especially if you're getting into world cinema or Italian neorealism. Vittorio De Sica, he also did Bicycle Thieves, which is one of the most iconic films ever made. And Umberto D is no doubt my favorite of his. I think it's better than Bicycle Thieves. Hot take.
Damn.
So, yeah, and I feel like barely anyone talks about this movie in the Criterion collection. So yeah, that's my pick, Umberto D. Have either of you guys seen it?
No. I love Vittorio De Sica though. Like Bicycle Thieves is one of my favorite movies ever, so I got to get on that. And I've heard the same thing where it's just like very melancholic and it'll make you cry.
It will.
Of course,
I think so, especially if animals like hit a string in your heart.
They do. And once you said that the dog is like holding his hat in the street, and this could be a tough watch, but I can't wait.
Yeah, I've heard the film get brought up in the Discord a few times, and yeah, it just sounds like a completely heartbreaking film that I would love to watch and get destroyed by.
Yep, and for anyone who doesn't have the channel, it is on YouTube. There's a HD version of it with English subs on YouTube free somewhere. Yeah,
for free.
Yeah, nice.
Free 99.
That's
great. That's a great pick. Love me some Italian neorealism, and I will watch that soon when I feel like I need a cry for sure. Carlos, do you want to go?
Sure. All right. So my number 3 underseen Criterion or underrated Criterion, whatever you want to call it, is The Cremator. from Juras Hertz. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but this film, for anybody who follows my haul videos, I really try my best to bring this film up like once every haul video, because I really do think, like, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't get talked about enough. Like at this point, like everybody on my Discord like knows about this film and most have seen it, but like in like the broad spectrum of everything, I feel like a lot of people who talk about Criterions and own Criterions, they don't really talk about this film at all, and I feel like a lot of them don't even know it exists. Yet to me, it's a masterpiece. It's a Czech New Wave film, and essentially it follows a very morbid character, and his character isn't necessarily outright, like, he's not necessarily like a bad guy, but like as the film progresses, this film is basically kind of showcasing the transition of Czechoslovakia being occupied by Nazi Germany, and again another like Nazi occupation film, kind of like the one that Bill brought up, except his is more the aftermath, and this is about like the slow transition of its culture, and our main character kind of gets caught up in that impossible social pressure that comes of that, and it's just a really great film. Like stylistically, it's really great. The camera work in this film, I think, is so modern and timeless. The editing transitions are insanely smooth and creative. I don't know. It's just, I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember so much about it because the presentation was so unique, especially for a film that came out in 1969. Is it 1960? Yeah, 1969. I feel like in terms of like its creative ability, it just doesn't get talked about that much, and it really deserves a lot more recognition. But yeah, that's what I'll say about it. I think it's an amazing film.
Excellent pick. I think
Great
The
pick.
Cremator is one of the best anti-war films ever made, in my opinion. Like, it's also one of the best satires, because it really is a funny film. Sort of.
It got dark humor. Yeah.
It channels that American Psycho energy of a character that is you follow, that you just kind of love to hate. He's so kooky and weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how to describe him. He's just like that little guy. You just get a creeped out feeling about. Like the way he caresses people and guides them and talks about them. And there's so much Chekhov's gun plot points in the film where a lot of callbacks are made and predictions for the future of the film. Like, it's such a well thought out screenplay too.
It is.
It really is a great film. I'm glad you brought that up, Carlos. More people should see that.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, like you said, like especially at the very beginning when the film starts to showcase his character, he's, as I was trying to say, he's not necessarily a bad guy, not at least like at first, but he's just such a odd creep weirdo guy. Like, he's just that guy that you don't really want to hang out with for more than 5 minutes because he's just creeps you out after a while. But he's not necessarily like an immoral guy. He's just a fucking weirdo. Obviously, as the film progresses, things start to change, but I just think it follows a really interesting personality with this character throughout the film, and it really never gets boring. And the style of the film really helps us immerse us into that world as well. But yeah, hell yeah,
it is. Yeah, I watched that for the first time because you kept peddling it, talking about it in the videos. So like, and I love Czech New Wave cinema, and like that, like I feel like stylistically they were always a little bit ahead of their time, with just like certain editing techniques and camera work. And the character is so fascinating. It's like one of the earliest films I can think of where a singular character embodies like these very profound and prophetic ideas of like fascism, how it could kind of control a population and a whole country just embodied in this one character is so crazy to me.
Yep.
And that movie's, it's endlessly fascinating. I definitely want to buy it as well. So hell yeah, great. Yeah. I think we had I think you mentioned Daisies on the first underrated Criterions, or one of us did. So another Czech. I love Czech New Wave. It's such a great era in film. So yeah, that is your first pick, and I will do mine from underrated Criterions. I think I talked about this film on our best production design episode. One of my favorite films of the century to come out so far. It's more of a recent pick, but it's called Still Walking by Coreda.
Ooh, did baby. That's a good one.
Ooh, baby. He did
I've never even heard of that.
He did Shoplifters. There's the other film that came out recently. I can't think of the name right now. But he's a wonderful filmmaker, and Still Walking is kind of shocked me how much it was up my alley. It kind of felt like a modern day Ozu film in terms of the presentation and the themes of like family and all this stuff. And if you guys have heard me talk on the podcast, you know I love subtle, slice of life filmmaking, and this movie is just so profound in its like subtext, and like because you kind of just spend a day or two with this family as they come together for a reunion, and it's very everything is just unsaid. Like it's all said through like subtext and under the radar sort of looks that these people give each other, and like the placement of the camera is so important. Like it's just such an incredible portrait of family life and how complicated it is. And the cinematography and the colors of this movie are just so gorgeous. So like on Criterion, it looks otherworldly good. And I would say like just another comfort watch for me now. Like I discovered this movie about a year ago, and it's just like kind of like Good Morning or any of those Ozu films that are like very life affirming. Like I'd put Still Walking in a similar boat, and you can see Corrieda is very, very inspired by Ozu. So that's my pick. I feel like a lot of people haven't heard of this film, and like maybe they've seen Shoplifters or heard of Corrieda, but he's a very underrated filmmaker in my opinion. So Still Walking is a great place to start. Bill, you've seen it. I heard you say hell yeah.
Oh yeah. I really like that film a lot. Although I will say my favorite Corrieda is Afterlife, which is in the collection. Carlos loves that film. I gotta say, he loves that one.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
Yeah, but Still Walking, I agree, is like one of the closest contemporary films to capture that Ozu essence of like the whole familial life, as well as I love the theme of familial legacy that the film tackles, where the children kind of reap what the parents sow. They have to like as if they have to choose their career path based off of what their father wants them to do or what they did. That there's a character, a son in the film that I kind of really related to in that sense.
Absolutely.
Where you feel for him for sure. Just having as Kendall Roy said, big shoes. Big shoes. That's a great pick, Jake.
Thank you. And Carlos, I would recommend. I think knowing your taste, you would like this more than Afterlife, probably. So
yeah, I mean, I like Afterlife. I think it's a decent movie. I don't think it's like that great because I was like the oddball. Everybody in the Discord thought it was like a really great film. And I thought it was decent, but I'm still like, yeah, I would love to check that film out. It sounds really interesting. That sounds like a film that I would definitely love. So
yeah, I mean, you liked Late Spring, right? From Ozu.
Oh yeah, that's a masterpiece.
I feel like that's one of the closest films I could compare Still Walking to.
This is like the complexity of the parent to child dynamics in those films are really similar. And yeah, there's so much history just in just such subtle moments, which I in film, that's like one of my favorite things when you could feel the weight of something in just a shot or a character's performance, and that movie's just full of it. So, and there's amazing. I always say I love food movies, and there's some amazing food photography in this film. It will make you hungry too, similar to like Tampopo or stuff like that. So, Still Walking is my pick. And Bill, what's your second pick?
It's hard to beat Asian cinema. They're all just so lovely. Old Boy, Tampopo. Great family dynamics tackled in film.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Anyways, it's funny we mentioned the man, the myth, the legend, Gaspar Noé earlier, because my next pick is one of his closet picks, which is spine number 667. Haha, they got you there. One off.
You got me.
Yeah. From 1966. A lot of sixes going on here. This is Seconds from John
Hmm.
Frankenheimer. Fucking diabolical psychosexual thriller right here. Existentialism incarnate. If only Perry was here with his jump scare appearance, he would back me up in saying that this film is one of the best character studies I think I've ever seen. It stars the king himself, Cock Hudson, or Rock Hudson, I should say, as this old man that is regretful in his life and the decisions he led that led him to this emptiness he feels. And a mysterious company comes out of nowhere, and he's approached with the fantasy, the idea of getting a whole new body, a brand spanking new body, and a second chance at life. And, I will say, not much of a spoiler, but the old man is not the same actor as Rock Hudson. The old man is transformed into Rock Hudson. And I guess that's kind of a compliment, right? To be casted as the embodiment of a sexy young person. So I've heard this film be compared to basically all of Cronenberg's filmography. Like Cronenberg was majorly influenced in this film, as well as his son. And it really is just, God, one of the best thrillers you could see. And I don't really want to talk a lot about it because it's very spoilery, because I went into this almost 100% blind. And I think that's the best way to go into it. But yeah, it's really good. Really fucking good. Seconds.
I second that.
Oh, you've seen it, Jake?
I have, yeah. I think it's brilliant.
Nice.
I'm glad you made that Cronenberg comparison, because like when I watched that movie, it was like you can see the direct influence that has on all of his films in terms of like not just body horror, but like corporations sort of controlling the psychosis of people, and that kind of leads to Brandon Cronenberg's newest films. It's just so ahead of its time in terms of the themes of that movie, and even like technically just so crazy and like modern feeling. Like it feels very contemporary. I love it. I love that movie.
Now, even though I'm comparing it to Cronenberg's filmography, I will say Cronenberg hasn't really clicked with me much. And I think that Seconds is like so much better than any of his movies, to be honest, in terms of its filmmaking capabilities. Like, oh my God, the fucking cinematography is insane. It's like, it feels weird. It feels like a fisheye lens almost, but it's not. Like, it's just so in your face with all of the characters. And it's just so fun. And Rock Hudson is fucking brilliant. Like, it is definitely his powerhouse performance that helps make this movie what it is.
Unbelievable performance. Yeah. I know what you're saying with that Cronenberg comparison, because it is more like stylistically impressive for sure. And John Frankenheimer, like, quick shout out, like kind of an underrated filmmaker nowadays. Like, he was so diverse, by just doing so many different genres of film, and like for like 50 years, pumped out. And I'm not talking about like Reindeer Games and stuff like that. But he had a pretty great filmography with like Ronin and Manchurian Candidate.
Oh yeah, is that he did the one with Sinatra? Is that
one? The original one, which is fantastic. So I forgot that was on Criterion, to be honest. Is that out of print? I've never seen it.
You can pick it up, but it's just barely available in stores. So
damn.
Yeah,
I gotta get that. Yeah,
it's like Yee, where you don't really see it in stores, but it's there.
Thank God I got my hands on Yo-Yo before.
And I want to say, Carlos, I know you love Tetsuo the Iron Man. And
I do.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of saying Seconds is the OG Tetsuo, it feels like.
Oh,
it kind of
OG
is.
Tetsuo.
Yeah. It kind of is.
That's another comparison I could make. I feel like Seconds is Carlos Core to a T.
You'll love Seconds, yeah.
I feel it's crazy that film has been wrecked in the discourse so many times. Somehow it hasn't won. I might wreck it like sometime soon. Fuck it.
That's such a shame. It could totally make top 10 discussions of a blind wreck.
It sounds like a film. The way that y'all have described it, it just sounds like something that I definitely love.
For sure. Yeah,
I'm down.
You're down to clown. That's a great pick. I haven't even thought of that movie in a while, and it's like incredible. And definitely underrated too, because like no one talks about it anymore. But definitely Carlos Core. Definitely a lot of people will enjoy it. So speaking of Carlos Core, what's your number 2?
All right. So my number 2 is Two-Lane Blacktop.
Hell yeah.
Film that I didn't even know existed until Various Spaghetti, aka Blake Bergman, recommended this film to me. Didn't really think I was gonna like it all that much, to be honest with you, because it just seemed like something that like was centered around car culture, stuff like that. Usually shit like that I just don't resonate with. But this film is kind of beyond that, and it's really simple too. It's basically, in a way, a road trip movie that just kind of devolves into this like toxically masculine competition for this woman that is, in a way, is kind of toying with them the whole time. And it's just I mean, in so many ways, it's just an entertaining and other ways funny film, and then and separate ways, it's actually like it's actually kind of like examining how the like how men treat each other can be skewed by a woman being involved, and just it's just a really interesting kind of film that almost like nothing, when you think about it, really has nothing to do with car culture itself. At least not in the superficial way that I think most people would kind of want out of the film. It actually feels like it has something more thematic to say. But there is like, I mean, there technically is like racing in it. There is a lot of, like car nerdy stuff in the film as well. But it just didn't feel like you really even had to be into that stuff in order to really enjoy it. Honestly, I think that most people who go into the film like expecting the car stuff are going to be disappointed because it just didn't feel like that kind of movie. Also, the ending is awesome. I love the ending to death. The use of sound at the very ending, I think, is just beautiful. Yeah, it's just a really awesome movie, and it's a really simple movie. It's not even that long. It's just entertaining, and yeah, and nobody ever talks about it. Like I didn't know this existed for the longest time, and I still feel like a lot of people don't know this film exists. And even if they do know that it exists, they're not gonna take a chance to watch it because on the surface it doesn't look like anything all that great, but it really is. But yeah, that's it. Two-Lane Blacktop.
Sweet, that's a great film. I like what you said, that it's not really about car culture, because I had the similar mindset to you, where I was like, is this gonna be like an early 70s kind of machismo race movie? But it becomes more like deconstructing our perception of what the movie was gonna be towards the end. I'm like, wow, it kind of brought you to a different mindset.
It's almost the opposite of that kind of movie when you think about it.
For sure.
It's almost kind of like poking fun at the way men are.
It is, which I'm a sucker for that usually. Yeah. So I loved it. Monty Hellman, who directed that, like I watched the Criterion extras, and he talked about like how he sold the movie to the studio, them thinking it's like a race film, like a racing movie, and with a lot of car like racing scenes, which there are a few, but then it became like this like deconstruction on masculinity, and I think they're pretty pissed about it. But it made it into like a cult status film, which is great. And a really like Hollywood important film for the Hollywood new wave for sure. In terms of like taking a lot of storytelling risks for sure. So that's awesome pick.
Thank you.
Bill, did you have you been on the Blacktop at all?
I haven't seen that one yet. I've been wanting to, but it's not on the channel, so I've not been. I haven't seen it yet. But I've heard lots of great things about it. I haven't heard any negativity whatsoever about that film. It seems like it's up my alley. You're talking about deconstructing some toxic masculinity. I'm game for that. That's good. Got some Paul Schrader vibes for sure. I'd like that.
A little bit. Monty Hellman directed that. He directed a Western film called The Shoot-In, with Jack Nicholson, and that's also a really underrated Western, like really like psychedelic, trippy Western with Jack Nicholson. I highly recommend that film as well. I think it's on Criterion too.
Damn.
It's called The Shoot-In. It's really great. So
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to hear what you have to say about it, Bill.
All right, I will. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if it's better than Afterlife or not.
Ooh, that'd be a good Criterion boxing match right there.
Afterlife versus Too Late.
Too Late Blacktop.
This was a random pairing.
I know.
That's like Come and See versus Jellyfish Eyes.
Oh, Jellyfish Eyes is like the Rocky Balboa in that situation.
the undefeated.
But what's his name? Ivan Drago is definitely Come and See.
Yep.
Russian. It works.
Or The Ascent. Just anything Soviet era.
Wasn't he in Come and See?
Did he play the come or the sea?
He played the and. Okay. My number two film after that brain rot will be a masterpiece in my opinion, Bigger Than Life by Nicholas Ray. Have you guys heard of this film or seen it?
Nope.
I don't know what that is, to be honest.
Okay, I love that. Now I can talk about it. So basically, this movie is incredible. It was made in the 1950s, directed by Nicholas Ray, who did Rebel Without a Cause, a lot of other classic films like In a Lonely Place. This movie is basically, it stars James Mason. He's like a family man. He lives in kind of a white picket fence, Americana. And one day he's selected by the government to start taking an experimental drug. And basically you kind of follow his descent into madness and sort of like this unpredictable sort of attitude towards like capitalism and family life and the whole like white picket fence, America that was very prevalent in like the 1950s. And this movie just is so like subversive for the time. And I could see why it's very under the radar, because I think studios at the time probably tried to bury it because it's such a controversial topic at the time. But James Mason's performance in this film is insane. It's like it has like every emotion possible packed within his performance. And it's just such a brilliant takedown on the pharmaceutical industry and like sort of this control that kind of like post World War II that they were trying to cover over like all these, soldiers and all these families post, like pre-baby boom era. And I always found that Eisenhower like era of like America, especially in films, is like super intriguing to me. So also this film is Technicolor. It's like it reminds me of like a pre like I don't know David Lynch Blue Velvet or John Waters like Serial Mom type vibes, because it is like a satirization of all the themes that I was talking about. So and Lynch and John Waters have both cited this film as very influential to their kind of like satirization of like the white picket fence Americana that they always have in their films. So with that being said, I think this film like it's super influential, just incredibly well directed and acted, gorgeous to look at. Unfortunately I do think it's out of print, but if it's like streamable on the channel or YouTube, whatever, it's like definitely worth a watch. It's very immersive and amazing. So yeah, that's all I got. Bigger Than Life.
Holy shit, that sounds so good. I was just looking it up. It is still in print, so that's good.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
I've never heard of that movie before, but I have seen. I just watched In a Lonely Place from Nicholas Ray.
Love that film.
And that was so fucking good. Yeah. So that really intrigues me to check that out.
Please do. Yeah. Not again, it's like I think I just watched that on a whim on the channel one day, and just became like one of my favorite films from the 50s. So yeah, please check it out.
I don't think I've seen any film from Nicholas Ray.
Rebel Without a Cause.
I haven't even seen that. is my Kino Lord card going to be revoked or?
No,
no.
not really.
We each have not seen one of the picks here. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's very true. He also did On Dangerous Ground, Johnny Guitar. He's an amazing director. Probably my favorite from the 50s era, from American films at least. So definitely check him out. So yeah, that's it. Bill, this is our last pick, yeah?
Yep. My number one pick. You
Let's
know I had to do it to him. I had to stunt you guys here and tell you guys this was secretly a staged intervention for both of you to get you to watch this movie.
Okay.
This behemoth of a film. Spine number 983, War and Peace.
Oh,
from
shit.
Sergei Bondarchuk. Some weird ass name. I don't know. But it says, it doesn't even say the year, because it took 8 years to make the movie. It is 7.5 hours long. It is without a doubt one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my whole life. It is Barry Lyndon on steroids, horse tranquilizers, all sorts of drugs. It is
Carlos just came.
It is so fucking insane. It really is one of the most insane feats a human being has ever directed.
Wow.
So much so that the director actually had several heart attacks while making the movie because of how stressful the production was. War and Peace is one of the most famous novels ever written. It's primarily about the Napoleon invasion of Moscow that took place in the 1700s. And so fucking good. We get you got to watch it for prep for the Joaquin Phoenix Napoleon film. So you can see the influence.
Wow.
There's a battle scene that's in part 3 because it's split into 4 digestible parts that are an hour and a half each. But in the third part, there is a battle scene that took a little over 100,000 extras in costumes with weapons, and they would dedicate an entire day to organize them all for one shot. And I believe that is when the director had his heart attack, was when he was filming that battle scene.
Like Spike Jonze and Babylon kind of vibes.
It is so it's like, I believe it's also one of the most expensive movies ever made. If you adjust it for inflation, I think it's like $600 million, something like that. Some like crazy huge number. And wow. I can't recommend War and Peace enough. And I looked at Letterboxd, and it's like fucking like less than maybe 12,000 people have it logged, like nothing. And yet it is like, it's something that every blockbuster film has tried to emulate and copy. Every war film, just it's such a insane feat in human storytelling. So yeah, that's my pick. War and Peace. It's so fucking good. You guys got to get on that. What are you doing?
You got me jacked up.
Well, isn't it like 5 hours long or something like that?
I thought you said 8 hours.
8 hours?
It's 7.5 hours long.
Yeah.
But it's split into 4 parts, so you can watch it like, at your own pace. Okay. Shout out to Eugene and shout out to Cynic, because they're the real ones that watched it in one sitting. I got through that shit.
You didn't watch it in one sitting.
I watched it in 2 days. I watched the first part one day, and then I watched 2, 3, and 4 the next day because it was just so fucking addictive. Like the characters, like it's not just like a insane production and insane cinematography. The characters are so well written that it's like you're watching a mini series and you want to know what happens next. It's like Copenhagen Cowboy. Like you're watching this mini series of all these characters and you want to know what happens to them by the end. And like it's filmed over 8 years. So there's one girl, Natasha, who is like, her character's like supposed to be 12 at the beginning, and then it ends with her in her 20s.
20.
And like, yeah, it's like it was filmed in 8 years, but the story itself is like a decade or more long tale. And the actress herself was 18 when she started or something like that, and then ended when she was 26. So
Damn.
you can like naturally see her actually get older as the film progresses. Same with the actors. Like the actors start to gray in their hair a little bit.
Oh,
It's
Oh shit.
so
That's
fucking
awesome.
good. Like Richard
The boyhood
Linklater.
technique, yeah.
Dude,
I
Richard
just-
Linklater came in his pants when he
I just
saw
want to say
One Piece.
shout out to Boyhood and Perry,
Oh yeah.
the original Boyhood right there.
So why the Barry Lyndon comparison? What's like the notable like similarity between the two films?
Not just is the costume design and everything very similar, the time period, but the way it's shot, it uses a lot of natural lighting, candlelit rooms, just like Barry Lyndon. And I don't know, it's just like it feels like it captures that essence so well. Like you can look at the two films and think they're kind of the same in how they're filmed and formatted. But I will say Barry Lyndon is more like a fun movie, right? Because it's about this trickster that works his way up top like Tom Wamscams. But Barry Lyndon is about that. But War and Peace is just fucking kind of like explosive look on the human condition. You know, it's just
Right.
about love and horror and death and war and peace. So yeah. And also it is available on 4K in YouTube. So Moss Film or some YouTube channel that releases all of the Soviet movies on YouTube, they have War and Peace in 4K, like 60 FPS, and it looks fucking amazing on that. More so than the Criterion channel. So,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But Carlos, you said you watched Showa in one day.
Yep.
Is it? How long is that?
I think it's like 8 hours. I don't remember. No, it's 9 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, nine and some change. So I feel like you could totally knock down War and Peace.
Yeah.
So it's a cakewalk.
I watched Showa in one shitting.
One shitting.
Just on the toilet the whole time. That's a good way to watch a movie if you have like food poisoning. Just like watch Showa on the toilet.
Watch Showa and be like, maybe my diarrhea isn't so bad now. Looking at what these people went through.
Right. I've thought about doing the human condition in one day, but is that even possible? Is it like 12 hours?
That's 9 hours.
That's 9 hours as well. Yep.
Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah. So like in comparison to these other ones, War and Peace is pretty short.
It's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
One of my friends asked me if I wanted to see that in theaters. It was playing at like the American Cinematheque here in LA, but I was like, I had work, but I was like, I don't know if I could sit in a theater for 7 hours personally.
Meanwhile, to me, that sounds like a dream come true to see that movie in a theater.
I mean, the way you described it, it sounds, like a dream.
It's like huge.
You have to treat it like an event. Like instead of going to Six Flags for the day, you're going to go watch War and Peace.
Yep.
We know War and Peace is better than Six Flags anyway.
That's my Barbenheimer for sure. War and Peace.
You go to a revival theater to see that while everyone's at Barbenheimer. No one's there because you just kick back. Spread you. Awesome. Yeah, that's a behemoth pick right there. Carlos, your final film.
All right, cool. So my final film is a Mexican film, and I believe last time we did a segment like this, your friend Jake brought this film up before I had actually seen it, but I always owned it for a while.
Yeah.
But
I know what that is. Yeah,
I think is your friend's name's Brandon, right?
My roommate. Yep.
Yeah, your roommate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Brandon. But yeah, so my pick is Kanoa, A Shameful Memory. Yeah, this is a film. This was one of my dad's favorite films for a long time. I had no idea that it was on Criterion until during one of the Hall videos. I found it on Criterion. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to blind buy this. Blind bought it, hadn't watched it forever. But maybe like 5 or 6 months ago, I watched it for the Discord, and it is such a compelling piece of filmmaking. And it's a slow burn too, and it's based on a true story as well. But it's a film that really takes its time to tell the story of this horrific tragedy that happened to a bunch of college kids who basically ventured into this small town and end up just being on the bad end of a fucking lynch mob. It's just a really, really scary, powerful, and just authentic piece of filmmaking that really does demonstrate what can happen when a small town like that is deprived of having access to knowledge, and also being the victims of basically like religious fascism. When the leader of your town is a Catholic priest and he's the source of your information and he's the source of the growth of your town, it's going to lead to something really fucking bad and culty. And it just tells that story that we hear kind of all the time around the world. And it's just a really fucking great piece of filmmaking because of its authenticity and because of how it takes its time. And obviously the way that it depicts that horrific event in the third act of the film when we finally get it, it's just really great direction. It just brought to life in a really immersive and tragic way. But yeah, Kanoa is a film that I don't really hear much people talk about at all, and it deserves a whole lot more praise, a lot more eyes watching it. And yeah, so Kanoa, be on the lookout for this one when you're out Criterion shopping. I'd say just blind buy it, because even if you don't really love it all that much, it's still a really important film to just own and have in your collection. So yep, Kanoa.
Sweet. I feel ashamed I haven't watched it yet after both Brendan and you have raved about it. So I'll put that at the top of my list because it sounds super intriguing and really important. So I will get on it. It looks incredible.
That's a great pick. Yeah, I do think Kanoa is a must buy. I've been trying to find that Barnes and Noble or something. It's a good film. Really,
definitely.
Just really tears your heart apart watching it, quite literally, as you're watching people get torn apart.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Side note, do you guys ever think that since you guys make so many Barnes and Noble videos, do you ever feel like, damn, I deserve a residual check for push so much? I think you guys push so much business in Barnes and Noble every season. I swear to God. It makes me want to buy Criterion. More. Yeah, both.
We deserve some like royalties from both Barnes and Noble and Criterion at this point.
Yeah.
Or at least like a gift card or something.
Yeah. Shout out to that one Barnes and Noble employee who told me to stop filming in store. Like this bitch does not understand like
free advertising.
How much help I'm doing, dedicating my life to make a fucking ad for their company.
It's
I would
true,
love it if Criterion reached out to us and was like, you know what, this haul's on us, and they just paid for an entire haul.
Yeah,
insane.
I would go.
They would get a lot more business. They would honestly get a lot more business if people knew that they would do shit like that for their
100%
content creators.
Then a lot of people would emulate what you guys are doing in the hopes that they're going to get like a free stack too. But no, like honestly, you guys push a lot of people to do the sale. Like even me, like I used to not do the Barnes and Noble sale. Like I do like 2 movies. Now I do like a full ass stack because I saw Carlos. I'm like fuck it. If he's doing it, I don't feel as bad spending $200 every time I go. But
I know it's so fucking expensive when you think about it. Like you pull out 5 movies and you're like, that's $100 right there. Yep. Almost $107.
It is. And immediately like I find like 6 things like within like 5 seconds I get there. All right, that's in the stack, and I have to like weed. It's exactly what you guys do in the video. Like fucking just like Russian roulette or whatever to make to kick movies out. It's hard.
I got lucky because the last Barnes and Noble we went to for the haul, that one had a lot like for me, but the inventory itself was actually like you could tell that they reduced it, like because there's no way. They reduced it to hell, but like luckily for me, they just happened to have a lot of the ones that I wanted, so I got a pretty decent haul. But for everyone else, it seemed like like fuck. like honestly, it just really sucks because I'm pretty sure no matter which Barnes and Noble I go to in my state, it's going to be like reduced inventory, like no matter what you do.
Too bad. That's too bad for all of us though, because like I the one I went to, I was telling Bill like all their films were behind the register, so I had to be like me and Brendan were like hunting like at like next to the register and all the cashiers. So it was so awkward, dude.
That's so weird.
We're gonna have to like venture out to a further one to actually like physically touch them, which is like
behind the register Criterions.
I was like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, can I get Petite Maman? He's like, and he grabbed it. And I was like, and I thought he was gonna hand it to me. He's like, nope, I'm got to meet you at the register. I'm like, all right. He's like, he thinks I'm gonna like swipe Petite Maman or something.
I like they treat it like you're at McDonald's. Like, I'll have a Big Mac.
La Big Mac.
La Big Mac.
Spine number 804.
Petite Big Mac. Por favor.
Yeah, no, it was weird, but
can I get Petite Maman?
Petite Maman.
It's funny.
Can I get a Petite Maman?
And of course, I had to like direct him to the movie because he's like, "What?
What? Yeah."
I was like,
"What?"
He's like, "You don't want the Seven Samurai like everyone else?"
What'd you say about my mom?
You're a Petite Maman. It kind of sounds like a reggae song, like Maman.
I'm a Petite man. Yeah. Man, if I go to Barnes and Noble like that, I'll be like, yeah, let me get a boneless Criterion, please.
Can I get the sweet and sour sauce on the side?
Petite Maman, no cheese, please.
No cheese. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Love
Great
it.
movie though. The transfer is fantastic for that film.
Have you seen it already?
Yeah. I watched it the other day. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh God, love that film.
Yep, me too. I love it. I haven't seen it since it came out, but I would love to watch it again.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Okay, I'll do my last one real quick. I actually don't own this, so I got no production value for this pick, but it's a film called Pariah by D. Rees. Again, I don't know if you guys have heard of this film. It was kind of a recent release. It's basically about a young girl she's gay and she's dealing with like hiding her sexuality from her overly conservative mother. So on the surface, like I remember I was seeing this film in film class. That was kind of like an exposure to women filmmakers, which was one of the best classes I ever took in film school. And this was like my favorite film that they showed us. Like the cinematography in this movie and like the stylistic choices, it reminded me of like kind of a blend of like Cassavetes and like Spike Lee in a way, because it is like it's kind of like neo-realist black cinema, which is like it was like super propulsive filmmaking and very like urgent, sort of really loud and really just urgent messaging. And the film's incredible, and I kind of just wanted to say it because like nobody really talks about this film. It was released like a year ago, and just one of the best like debuts I can think of. Like I know she was like mentored by Spike Lee in college, and this was like her thesis film. And it's like you hear a lot about like those thesis films that kind of like blew up. Like Darren Aronofsky had like Pi, and Spike Lee, I think maybe She's Gotta Have It. One of his earlier films were like his thesis films. This is like by far one of the best, just out of film school, like graduate school films I've ever seen. And it is like breathtaking and really heartbreaking, really relatable. Definitely worth a watch, a blind buy, because I don't even ever see it in stores anymore because I think no one bought it, but it's an amazing film, an amazing modern Criterion. So yeah, have you guys ever heard of that, or you've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Whatever. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I watched it. I remember I saw it on Netflix like shortly before it was even announced to the collection. So it was like really ironic timing. And I do really like that movie quite a bit, especially for a directorial debut, like you said. T. Rees
Crazy.
Put a lot of heart and soul and just kind of bared her soul into the film. As I recall it, it's like a kind of based off of her real life.
Very autobiographical, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good film that not a lot of people talk about that's in the collection. Barely anyone, I think.
No one, yeah. Like, I had to bring it up, and I think it's a fantastic film. You rarely see films that revealing for like a filmmaker's sort of backstory being implemented into a film. Like rarely do you see that, and I think that film's just incredible. So yeah, that's it.
A good pick.
Thank you. And I'd say we're gonna take a quick break real quick. I think Perry's about to join.
Oh, nice.
Holy hovercraft.
The anticipation's killing me. So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll finish with our dream films for Criterion to release. So stick with us. We have a surprise guest like that we teased earlier. One of our most requested guests to come back. I don't know if you knew that, Perry, but people have been demanding you. So thank you for coming back for the Criterion Cast. Welcome
Thanks
back.
for having me back. Thank you.
So unfortunately you missed our underrated Criterion section, but I know you could do a rapid fire top 3. So go for it whenever you're ready. The 3 most underrated Criterions in your opinion.
I would say Weekend, not the Jean-Luc Godard film, the Andrew Haig film from 2011.
Great film.
Markita Lazarova. I would also say 45 Years, another film by Andrew Haig that's very, I feel like, underappreciated in the Criterion collection. And I guess for honorable mentions, I would say The Lore, which is a Polish musical about mermaids. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Yes, I love that movie.
Nice. And another honorable mention would be Smithereens.
Yes. I own that one. I love that one.
Smithereens always caught my attention. I think the cover is awesome.
It is. That's a great punk rock 80s New York movie for sure. It's like shot in 8mm. It's just like feels very documentary-esque. I love it. So
yeah.
Keep going. Go. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's crazy to call like any film in the Criterion collection underrated, considering like pretty much all of them have some level of acclaim. Otherwise, they wouldn't make it in the collection. Other than like Jellyfish Eyes and like Armageddon, shit like that.
Jellyfish Eyes is Kino, man. What the fuck are you talking
really
about?
Ironic you brought up Jellyfish Eyes because we were just like talking about how that might be a blind pay for this season, but
overlooked to me is like I guess
overlooked
I'm to say it because like because I knew what you mean, like underrated is like most films in Criterion people either like or love, but like there are some films in the Criterion collection that people just don't know about or don't understand like how good it actually is.
Yeah.
But
we're going for the under discussed, like comparatively to like the ones that are like discussed to death, I guess. So which I think we got a pretty good list out of all of those. I love Andrew Haig, by the way. He's such an underrated contemporary filmmaker. I'm a huge fan of all of his stuff. So yeah, awesome. Thank you. And let's transition then to, I think that we've never done this, so I'm very excited. We know we've talked about it a lot. Carlos has done 2 videos, but films that should be on Criterion, which are, as Bill said prior to recording, like it's always in any film lover's subconscious who loves Criterion, because we all hope for like the greatest films to come out to be released on Criterion one day. So very excited to do this list. We're going to do our top 5 for films that are like kind of dream films we'd love to be released. So without further ado, let's go back to Bill Griff for your number 5.
I'm so underprepared for this because I have 18 films I'm looking at my notes app, and I think I'm just gonna Russian roulette, throw one out here. Oh man,
do a little Deer Hunter action.
a little Deer Hunter. I think I'm gonna do The Lives of Others. I think that film should be
Nice.
in the Criterion Collection. From 2006, the director's name is Florian Henkel von Donnerschmark. What the fuck? Weird as hell. But this guy directed a film that I think is just so fucking good. It's I would consider it a part of the Paranoia trilogy that Perry talks about, where like The Conversation or Blowout, because this film follows a German police officer that works for the secret police way back in, East West Berlin when that was a thing. And he's tasked with listening in on people who the government suspect to be communists, I believe, or capitalists, just against their code, against their rules and regulations, to to suspect their treachery, and they'll either get punished by going to prison or be executed. Like there's so many high stakes with what this guy's job is. And the guy is actually played by the dad from the original Funny Games from Mikhail Haneke. He is so fucking good in this movie. He is very much like Gene Hackman's character in The Conversation, where he's just that human embodiment of loneliness. Like he's just such, outside of his work where he's an expert at and is a genius, he spends most of his time alone, in his van or in the attic, listening in on these people, just not really having any sort of human connection other than listening and observing. And he kind of becomes attached to the people he surveys. And it's a really interesting character study in that sense, where you follow someone like that, who is just a watcher, who doesn't really have much human interaction. But The Lives of Others, that's a film that won Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars the year it came out.
It beat out Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I also think it's super underrated or overlooked, I should say, because not a lot of people have talked about it since its Oscar run way back in 2006. Like, I don't really know that many people who have seen it on my Letterboxd, but it's a film that I think could easily be looked at as a Criterion film. It could be in the collection and it would make sense. It wouldn't feel out of place. It's something that I think should be preserved because there's no Blu-ray release for it at all whatsoever. Damn. Barely even a DVD release, I don't think. Like, I've not seen anything on eBay for it. So, yeah, The Lives of Others, that's a film that I think is excellent. That should be in the collection. That's my number 5.
Sweet. I haven't seen it, unfortunately.
I have a question for Bill, actually.
Yes.
Would you say that the Academy made the right decision by picking Lives of Others over Pan's Labyrinth?
Ooh. Today I will say yes, but tomorrow maybe not, because I both have them rated at a 9 out of 10. I love Pan's Labyrinth just as much as The Lives of Others. They're two completely different kinds of films, I would say, in every sense of the word. But yeah, it's tough. But right now, I would say yes. I think The Lives of Others is.
I will say though, I haven't seen The Lives of Others. Bill has recommended it to me for ages now, and I still haven't seen it. But just from this, I am fine. Like, I'm gonna make it my mission to finally watch it before the month ends. But with that being said, in terms of how both films have held up over time, in terms of how many people talk about them, I mean, Pan's Labyrinth definitely kind of takes the cake. But in terms of quality, I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it, but Pan's Labyrinth to me that film's a masterpiece. So, but I mean, I hear first the way Bill describes it, I'm pretty sure Bill would also consider it a masterpiece or damn near a masterpiece.
I also think the Academy doesn't always, they kind of overlook fantastical or just genre films in general. So maybe at the time that's why they overlooked Pan's, because like that, I actually thought in my head like Pan's Labyrinth definitely won Best Foreign Language Film that year just because it was such a phenomenon. But yeah, it's cool at least that there were two very like kind of monstrous and loved films that were contention that year. And I'm dying to watch The Lives of Others. It seems really intriguing.
Same.
Bill, have you seen The Tourist with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
You have?
Is that from the same director?
It's the same guy.
Oh man, he made a stinker.
It's kind of like it seems like his big blank check movie. He kind of, after The Lives of Others, didn't turn out so hot. But
yeah. I actually made a mock-up Criterion cover. I might send you to show for reference in the video of what it would look like if it was added.
Please, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Alrighty. Carlos, your first film you'd like to see on Criterion.
All right. So I made a little switch up in order to include this film that I'm about to show you. Because some of these films on my list are on here not only because I love them and I really want them on the collection, but they're films that I feel like aren't like obviously going to be that aren't obviously going to be on Criterion as much as others. Because there's some other films that I had on this list before that I feel like obviously with time they're going to be on it, no questions asked. Some of these are a little bit more complicated. But yeah, with that being said, the first film on my list is Incendie from Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, it just seems like the perfect film that they would include from him. I don't really see them including any other film from him except this one. This is like the one that I just feel like it fits in harmony with what the Criterion collection represents. It's not his first film or anything, but it's one of his earlier films. It's one of the films that like people really started to understand early on, like how great of a filmmaker this guy actually is. And it's just it's basically like a suspense thriller drama kind of movie. And it, again, in Villeneuve fashion, he just does an excellent job at pacing his films and having this like kind of slow presentation, but be incredibly engaging and immersive. And just the way that everything unravels in the film, I just find so compelling. It has one of the most, just one of the darkest, like twist type of endings that I've ever seen in a film. It's a twist ending that's just really gonna fuck you up in the best way possible. And I really love it for that. And honestly, it's probably the darkest that Villeneuve has ever gone. And yeah, it's a film that I definitely recommend all those people who I guess have perhaps been sleeping on it. I think everybody should finally just kind of pull a trigger and watch it, because I promise you it's worth it. It's really, really great. But yeah, and it's a film that's in foreign language as well. So, you know, Criterion picks up a lot of foreign language films. But yeah, Incendie, that's my number 5 pick.
I'm one of those people that have slept on it, unfortunately, that and Polytech. And maybe if it was on Criterion, I'd have more of an urgency to watch it, but I really just should pull the trigger because I hear it's very masterful. Some people have said it's like one of his best films, so I definitely
I personally think it's Villeneuve's best film on Sunday. Fucking
wow.
great.
Yeah,
that's saying a lot. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's his best, but I'd say that it would have a good chance of making my top 5. I'll say that, but it is fantastic, and anybody that puts it really high up there, I really do understand it
for sure.
What's your favorite? What were you gonna say, Jake?
I said my personal favorite Villeneuve is probably Prisoners or Arrival.
Oh yes,
which is very
right there with you.
Very not a hot take at all, but I definitely want to explore his French Canadian era. I heard Polytech is also very, very good. So
I love that movie.
Yeah, it seems like very.
That's a hot take, though. There's plenty of people in the Discord that don't really like Polytechnique.
I mean, it seemed kind of in the vein of something like Elephant or just other very tough subject matter. So maybe that's why. But I've heard. I know he started out as like a documentary filmmaker, so it seemed like his earlier films were very just grounded in reality in some respects. So
yeah. And then now he's doing sci-fi epics.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Harry, do you have any hot takes for Villeneuve?
Not really. I'm not that huge on Polytechnique. It's my least favorite. I think it's a fine film. It's just structurally it doesn't come together for me. I would say Incendie is top 2 for me. I think his best film was kind of a toss-up between Incendie and Blade Runner 2049.
Definitely. You guys looking forward to Dune 2?
Absolutely.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I'm hyped.
The trailer is magnificent. Every time the trailer comes on in a theater, people are like actively hyped for it. So like cheering for it. I'm like, I can't wait. I need to rewatch the first Dune. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I feel like I'll love it more with the kind of connective tissue of the second one too. So yeah,
I haven't seen the trailer for Dune 2 yet, but I'm pretty sure once I watch some movie, I mean, it's possible that when I go see Barbie, I'll see the trailer for Dune 2 before it or something. But yeah, I'm hyped for it. Definitely.
I'm obviously excited for Villeneuve, but for me, I'm a huge Timothée Chalamet stan. So it's like, put him in anything and I'll go see it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll watch the new Wonka movie. I don't care. If it's got little Timmy in it, I gotta go see it.
Little Timmy Tim.
I'm not really that huge on the guy, honestly. I think he's a good actor, obviously. I think he has some great roles. Call Me by Your Name is probably his most impressive performance for me.
Let's not attack Little Women on this pod. I don't want on the eve of Barbenheimer. I don't think we should do it. I just don't. I think it's wrong.
But I mean,
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No. I wasn't even going to go there. But now that you mentioned it, yeah, I'm just kidding.
Well, like his only other 2 iconic roles, it'd be like Greta Gerwig films. So I don't want.
Bones and All.
Bones and All is fantastic. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. He's amazing. I love Paddington 2, so I can't wait for Wonka. I think Paul King's a slept-on filmmaker. So
we'll see how it turns out. I don't know. Wonka is such a quirky, silly like role. I just never imagine Timmy doing that, but we'll see how it works out. I'm still gonna watch it because I love Wonka. I mean, I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I really like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I don't give a shit. I like that movie. I think it's fun and awesome.
Oh boy. You my roommate would get along. He also stands Tim Burton and that movie. I'm just like, I can't do it.
It's definitely a hot take, but I really do enjoy both of those films. But this new Wonka coming out, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out.
I think Timmy is secretly a very flamboyantly like musical person. I think he might surprise us.
Yes.
But it also could be a dumpster fire. You never know. But I don't know. I'm rooting for it, I guess. Same with Ryan Gosling and Barbie. I think he's going to be like very like fit in for Ken.
Yes.
Who's done very masculine roles. So I like variation. How did we get to Timothy? What were we talking about? Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'd love to see Bones and All in Criterion. Side note. I didn't write that down, but that'd be an amazing Criterion.
Me.
Okay. My That's fine. My number 5. I feel like we've talked about this a lot, but like I feel like it's an obvious pick, but I'm just gonna say this filmmaker has a ton of films on the collection already. Just do it. Let's put Children of Men on Criterion for fuck's sake.
Let's go. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Cuarón is the man. He's got Roma on there. We got Y Tu Mama Tambien, excuse me. Amazing films, but Children of Men for me is his magnum opus. We don't have a lot of sci-fi dystopian films on Criterion, like aside from Tarkovsky. I'm sure there's a few others I'm forgetting about, but I just think this film would be preserved, would be fantastic. It's a gorgeously shot. The sound design is incredible. Just imagine that restored. I think has influenced a ton of films and like TV and video games moving forward. I just think it's just ripe for a Criterion release. I mean, I don't think that's much of a hot take. I think it's one of the best movies of the century so far. And I think Cuarón would be happy to have another film in the collection. So, especially like, I don't think Gravity or like any other one of the post Y Tu Mama Tambien films would make Criterion. I think this has the best chance. So I don't know. I would love it. I'm assuming you guys all love the film too. I'd be surprised.
Yes.
That's all right. Kind of mid.
Fair.
It's my second favorite film from him. My first favorite is Y Tu Mama Tambien. But yeah, it's fucking great.
Fantastic.
You mean to tell me Prisoner of Azkaban's not getting a Criterion release? The fuck?
Watch it happen. They'll put that on Criterion before fucking Children of Men.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, that would annoy the shit out of me. Just having one Harry Potter movie just sandwiched between like all these. I love Prisoner of Azkaban though.
Same, I do. I was gonna say film. I think it's a great film, but I'd still be like, "What the hell, dude?"
It's objectively the best out of the entire Harry Potter franchise. To be fair,
it's so gorgeous. It is. Yeah. Bill, Harry Potter, yay or nay?
Plead the fifth.
You're more of a Maze Runner guy. I get it. So.
I'm more of a boneless petite maman fan.
Ranch on the side, a little blue cheese action. So, okay. Perry, you want to go next? You're number 5.
My number 5 dream film for the Criterion collection, and I actually changed up my top 5. Originally, I was going to cheat and include a bunch of Greg Araki films, including Mysterious Skin, the Teenage Apocalypse trilogy, and The Living End. But I feel like a Greg Araki Criterion release is upon the horizon. So I figured, go bolder with it. So my number 5 is Marie Antoinette by Sofia Coppola.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people, shit on Sofia Coppola just because she was in The Godfather Part 3, and they just kind of associate it with that. And I feel like that, arguably, that's kind of an extension of, I don't know, that I just think that's kind of idiotic and a little myopic, if I'm being honest. I think she's a great filmmaker, and I'm not going to say everything she's made is just masterful. But I mean, Lost in Translation is great. I haven't seen Virgin Suicides in a long time, but I remember really liking that one.
Really
and for
good,
me,
yeah.
Marie Antoinette, out of what I've seen, is her best film. I feel like it's a very punk rock period piece, is how I would describe it. I mean, there's literally a shot of Converse that it's included in the film. And it's just like little touches like that I think make it such like a unique period piece. And Kirsten Dunst is just fantastic as Marie Antoinette. And I think it's like an interesting portrayal of that, of who she was as a person. Like, even if it's not like 100% historically inaccurate, historically accurate, I do think it is a fantastic film. The costume designs gorgeous. I really love the soundtrack. The soundtrack has a lot of like indie bangers on it. It opens with Gang of Four, for crying out loud. Like, that's such an awesome punk rock choice for like a period piece. I just love how anachronistic the entire film is. But yeah, that's Marie Antoinette is my number 5.
I've only seen 2 Sofia Coppola films. One being The Beguiled, which was decent, and then the other one, The Virgin Suicides, which, hot take, I thought was bland as white bread. I did not enjoy that movie. But I still am interested to watch her other films, especially Lost in Translation. I have no idea why I haven't seen that fucking movie yet.
Surprising, yeah.
Yeah, it's a film that I really need to watch. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and also looking forward to Marie Antoinette. So for sure.
Marie Antoinette's also my favorite Sofia Coppola film. I'd love to see more of her films on there, and that's like her most like lavish and just gorgeously constructed film, in my opinion. Just to see that on high definition would be incredible, and that's a film that's grown on me so much. Like at first it was like my least favorite of her films, and it kind of on rewatches grew to like kind of her magnum opus, if you ask me. And I agree, not everything is masterful from her, but the ones that hit really hard. And I think I agree she's an incredible contemporary filmmaker. So
no, pretty good pick, Pear Bear.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Bill.
Oh, fuck.
Back around the horn.
We're already back. Okay. I was getting all settled and nice hearing Perry's tale of saying myopic and lugubrious and whatnot. But all right, let me figure it out. Yeah. You know, I want to be that guy because we've been having a great little stint of films released from the guy Scorsese. His some guy named Scorsese.
You have to bring me up to speed on that one.
Who the fuck's that?
Well, he's most famous for producing Shark Tale, but I think some of his films from the 80s are really good. And it seems that Criterion is releasing his underappreciated 80s films. And by that, I just mean like not, his 90s post. And how he's releasing like, let's see. I mean, After Hours just came out this month, and Raging Bull Puss came out last year. Same with The Last Waltz. So it makes me wonder what is next. What's the next 80s Scorsese? And in my opinion,
Kundun, right?
It's got Kundun. I like it. I would say it's got to be The King of Comedy from 1982.
Yeah.
Like that feels like the next Criterion Scorsese film. Like that one and Silence are the 2 Scorsese films I feel like deserve the Criterion treatment the most.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm focusing on King of Comedy because I think that's one of De Niro's most, like, one of his best performances he's ever given. And no one ever talks about it. Everyone talks about Raging Bull. Everyone talks about Taxi Driver. Everybody talks about Dirty Grandpa. No one talks about him as the OG Joker, because it really is just such a insane film when you think about it. About this guy, Rupert Pupkin, who is an aspiring comedian who's a really terrible comedian. Like, he's not good at all. He doesn't acknowledge that. He thinks he's the best. His ego drives him to levels of insanity as he stalks Jerry Lewis playing a talk show host who he is infatuated with. And he envisions these fantasy scenarios where he is talking to him and this guy's giving him the keys to his show, like the gate to heaven. It's so fucking, like, it's so different from Scorsese's filmography. Like, it really sticks out as something you don't imagine when you think of like his typical mob films or crime dramas or anything like that. This is something totally on its own, just like After Hours, where it's just this wacko dude you follow in New York who should seriously get some therapy, but instead he is the protagonist in a Scorsese film. And yeah, King of Comedy, what hasn't been said about it? I know you guys all, for the most part, enjoy it, right?
Oh,
100%.
Yeah. I fucking love King of Comedy, dude. I love that movie a lot.
On some days, I would say is my favorite Scorsese movie. On some days, but mostly it's Goodfellas, and Carlos can concur.
Yep.
But I would love. I know it has probably a shitty Blu-ray release somewhere, but like, goddamn,
It
give us
does.
give us a Criterion.
Like, yeah, the only Blu-ray of it is like some shitty version that's $25 on Amazon. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
It definitely needs some good supplements. It needs a Scorsese commentary. Would be insane to be
man, that'd
added
be
to that. Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
4K restoration. God, I'm foaming at the mouth thinking about the possibilities.
I'm so happy they're releasing all of the 80s Scorsese or like the early 80s Scorsese on 4K. I think that's just a cool idea because After Hours is a great film, very overlooked, and I think more people are going to be exposed to it now. So, like, it's awesome.
Yeah. Pumpkin, I think, is a great comedian. You're wrong, Bill.
Rupert Pumpkin. Yeah, do you see the end?
That final speech at the end, that was actually like kind of gold.
Yeah, where he made all the Morbius jokes and everything.
Oh God, that's
I just fired my team of comedy writers. Been shot out in Central Park or something like that.
Yeah. Oh.
I put him in front of a firing squad in Central Park. I think that's what he said.
Oh.
Do you guys know who wrote King of Comedy? It's not Schrader, is it?
No,
it's not. It's such a brilliant script. No one ever talks about it.
I'd rather be a king for a night than a schmuck for a lifetime.
Schmuck for a lifetime.
A king for a day.
King for a day, yeah. Even though it was nighttime.
Whoever plays the female counterpart, I forgot her name. Like who kidnaps Jerry Lewis in the end. She's so good in that. I forgot her name, but she's incredible. So
Juliette Lewis vibes for sure.
Yeah, just so devious. Yeah, just God, the performances in that movie are insanely good.
Yeah.
Rupert Pumpkin.
Also,
sorry, go ahead.
It also has Scorsese. Oh, sorry, De Niro's real life wife at the time plays his love interest, the bartender woman.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also I looked up who the writer was. It was Paul Zimmerman, and this is like the only credit he has for writing, which is crazy because this guy totally had skill. He could have taken it further.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe that's Paul Schrader's like ghostwriter name or something. Maybe he took on an alias or something.
Maybe it was maybe it was Drake that wrote King of Comedy.
Drake.
Yeah.
Drake Bell, you mean?
Yeah, Drake Bell.
What's up? My brother saw Dog Day Afternoon at a theater in LA, and he sat right next to Drake Bell randomly.
What?
Before, yeah, he texted me. He's like, "Yo, Drake Bell's sitting next to me at Dog Day Afternoon," and I thought it was a joke, but he took a picture. It was real.
Damn.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to see his brother in Oppenheimer get radiation poisoning.
Detonator charged.
Drake, where's the bomb hole?
Yeah. Great pick. Perry, is your dream Scorsese film Wolf of Wall Street, right? For Criterion?
Just like your dream Denis Villeneuve film is obviously Enemy, right?
I just tried not to bring up Enemy. Oh, man. Okay. Carlos.
Shit, my turn?
Yeah.
All right. So the next film I have is a film called Under the Skin. This is a film that, personally, I want to see more films from A24 get into the collection. We've had a few like Uncut Gems and I can't remember the rest, but Uncut Gems is on there. And some films from A24 I really feel like deserve the treatment because some of them don't really have that great physical releases. And Under the Skin is one of them. I mean, it just has like a normal release and that's really all you get of it. And I feel like that's unfair to a film like this, that it's not that old of a film, but I feel like has influenced a lot of filmmakers since then. It's just truly a visionary and unique piece of filmmaking that is told purely through visual storytelling and sound design and all that jizz. But it's a film that is unlike any other film that I can remember. It's a film that at the time it came out, it really helped me understand like the true essence of artful filmmaking. Because of just its ability to like tell you so much through visual means, whether it be thematically, narratively, or character wise. It's just like a film that is so uniquely presented in this visual way, and makes you feel terrified while also just being very thought provoking. Yeah, I'm even wearing the shirt. I wore the shirt in dedication.
Yes,
I was gonna do it.
It's a great shirt.
Yeah, I love it. Jen got it for me for my birthday. Love it. But yeah, so I know it's kind of like a newer. Honestly, a lot of the films I have on my list are like post 2000s, but I feel like they all deserve it. And this is definitely one that I feel like this is one film that I feel like really needs to be on the collection. It's just really great, and it just fits nicely with it. So yep, Under the Skin.
Sweet. That's one of my favorite movies of the decade of 2010. So I would love that. That's it. The score. I was gonna say Mika Levy's score.
Oh yeah,
it's one of my favorite film scores I can think of in recent memory. It's just a masterpiece all through and through, in my opinion. So
yeah, they had a screening somewhere at some point. It's probably in California, where they screened the movie and they had a live orchestra play the score, which would be insane.
That would be nuts. Yeah, because that score is like I know this phrase is overused, but it's a character in the film itself. You know, it's like along with the cinematography and the production design, I just feel just kind of transcend the movie for sure. So
yep,
I love it.
I hate. I agree. We need more A24 films in the Criterion collection, especially Under the Skin. But I hate when people are saying, "Well, A24, they have their own releases for their movies." It's like, I hate to sound like a gatekeeping scumbag here, but if it doesn't have the C, it's not for me, baby.
Yeah, amen.
That Criterion release.
Amen, Perry.
And sometimes they don't even they could release these films and have like special edition releases, but they don't for like a lot of their films that I feel like deserve it too.
Yeah,
so like
only a select few.
Like if you're not gonna do it, then just give it over to Criterion so they can do it.
Right.
I feel like over time that's definitely a trend that happens, because like how could they not preserve these A24 movies that are like so beloved?
Yeah.
Is it really only Uncut Gems is the only one? I've been trying to think as you were talking. I think that's the only.
That might be the only one actually.
Criterion.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But they also, I just found out that they also have a Apple TV release, Apple Plus, the Velvet Underground documentary. That's an
right.
Apple Plus film, and then La Llorona. La Llorona is a Shudder exclusive film. So there are other streaming services where films from there could join. So we could theoretically see a Killers of the Flower Moon Criterion at some point.
Ooh.
I feel like we will. I mean, they did the Irishman already. I would love that.
Unless the movie sucks, which it won't.
This is the worst movie of the year.
Couldn't be any worse than Wolf of Wall Street.
Got him.
The worst DiCaprio performance outdoes itself.
He just plays himself for real.
A screaming, vacuous human being. There you go.
And I don't disagree. That's actually true. He's a pretty vapid person, it seems like, but
yeah. He's like, oh, she's over 19. Oh, she's too old for me. I'm sorry.
It's over 9. Margot Robbie was too old at the filming of that movie. He was like, no, younger. Yeah, no. For the record, I love that movie, but I do recognize the fan base of Wolf of Wall Street was pretty next level toxic and inspired some bad stuff. I don't know.
That's a shame.
Do you like the movie too? Like, am I the only one that likes Wolf of Wall Street?
No, I love the Wolf of Wall Street. That movie's awesome. It's not my fault that people are dumb and
fucking, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you know,
but I also it's overconsumption, of film. It's a little too much for some people, but I still love it.
That's true. But people people watch it and they like, oh, that guy's my hero. It's like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's bad.
The media literacy, or should I say lack of, amongst most people is an absolute joke.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. And Scorsese almost like trolls the audience at the end because like the kind of camera pans to us. And if at that point you don't understand the messaging of like, we don't endorse Jordan Belfort, and some people still did. It was pretty insane how many people do still endorse that guy. It's pretty insane. But sidebar, sorry.
What they would say to us? You know what they would say to us? They would just quote the movie. They'd say, if you think I'm superficial, then go get a job at McDonald's because that's where you fucking belong.
It's love that scene.
So good.
Oh man.
Sell me this vinegar syndrome.
Sell me this jellyfish eyes copy.
If you could sell that movie, you deserve $1 million.
Bill has sold me already.
Try selling me Boyhood or the Before trilogy.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Sell me this Linklater.
Sell me this Solo.
I'll buy Solo I'll buy it no matter what.
I'll buy it for free.
I realized that wasn't gonna make sense.
It works.
If Blair was here, she'd back me up about Solo, but it's okay. I miss you. All right. Speaking of Jonathan Glazer, Sexy Beast should be at Criterion.
Oh, hell yeah.
I fucking love this movie. I think Jonathan Glazer is one of our greatest living filmmakers, even though he doesn't make films that often. This was such an amazing deconstruction on the crime film and the mob movie for the time. And I know it's been said a million times, but Ben Kingsley is like next level scumbag performance in this movie. Just outstanding presence in this film. And just, I mean, exactly what Carlos was saying, like, it's such a unique piece of filmmaking. And Jonathan Glazer, to me, has emulated like some of the greatest filmmakers in the past, like Kubrick, or some of the greatest experimental filmmakers. Bringing that to sort of mainstream productions, I think is really special. And like we were saying, I cannot wait for his new film coming out the end of this year. And I think putting Sexy Beast on Criterion and Under the Skin, and let's say Birth too, put them all on Criterion. It'd be the perfect.
Let's get a box set going.
Let's get a trilogy going. Yeah, let's do it. I love Birth, by the way. I think it's a really underrated film.
I've wrecked that film so many times in the Discord and just won't win. I don't understand. It's got Kidman in it, and it's a Glazer film. Come on.
It's got Kidman.
Carlos, I'm not interested in Birth. I'm only interested in death.
I knew you were going there.
That colonialism. We talk a lot about films that deal with colonialism in our Discord.
But yeah, Sexy Beast is a very, I think it would sell a ton of copies. It's very beloved.
Yeah.
And I just want to hear Ben Kingsley yelling the C word on high def. So
yes.
on my surround sound.
It's such a different movie, like in comparison to everything else that he's done.
Yeah, I was taken aback because I'd seen Under the Skin first, and I went back to watch Sexy Beast, and it's kind of like this, crime lord sort of, epic story about these two guys, but it still has this imprint of kind of Jonathan Glazer's very off-putting sort of look on humanity. So, I would love. God, you saw I have this shitty DVD. There's no Blu-ray of this movie that exists. I don't think.
Damn.
So 4K it up, Criterion. Let's go.
Yeah.
8K while we're at it, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
3D 8K.
I want to see that evil demonic bunny in 8K.
Yeah, Ray Winstone in a Speedo. I need that in 8K, baby.
Yes, absolutely.
I just love Jonathan Glazer, and I love that movie. So, yeah, that's
Good
my pick,
pick.
man.
Very good pick. I love Sexy Beast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Perry, round us out.
My number 4 for my dream Criterion film is actually from a director who already has a film in the collection. Sean Baker called this filmmaker a modern master, and I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. This is from Lee Chang-dong. The film is Burning.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Fuck. Yes. Perry, preach.
So I think one film that the Burning actually reminds me a lot of is The Vanishing, which also has a Criterion release. So I feel like they would make for an extraordinary double feature. And Burning, I think, is just a perfect film. It literally is a perfect film. And the last 5 minutes of the film, I'm not going to say what happens, literally had my jaw on the ground. I mean, my jaw on to the floor. I mean, it just really blew me away. And Stephen Yeun, who I think is a brilliant actor, and if you only know Stephen Yeun for The Walking Dead, you're fucking up, because he's had a lot of great performances in a lot of great films. And I think Burning, like, don't get me wrong, I love Minari, but I think Burning is actually Stephen Yeun's best performance, in my opinion. I think he's extraordinary in the film. He's just very charismatic, and I love the protagonist, how he's just kind of this like aspiring writer who gets wrapped up in this mystery and becomes so obsessed with this a woman that it literally drives him insane. It's so fascinating, and it's such a gorgeously shot film. I feel like fans of George Sluger's The Vanishing, or as I like to call it, Sporloose, I feel like Burning is right up their alley, and I feel like with The Vanishing in the collection, Burning has to be in the collection as well.
Nice. I ashamedly have not seen Burning yet. Very big.
It's a really good movie.
Big blind spot. And Stephen Yeun's one of my favorite modern actors, so I feel ashamed I've let him down. And Lee Chang-dong, he's like a very great director. What's the film he has in the collection
Secret
already?
Sunshine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Secret Sunshine. That movie is fucking great. I like Burning. I think it's pretty good. But Secret Sunshine, that to me is, that movie's powerful, and it's really, really great.
Wow.
Has anyone here seen his highest rated film, Poetry, yet?
No.
I'm not.
No, me neither. I want to get on that.
I want to see all of his films. Someone told me that Secret Sunshine is the saddest film they've ever seen. I forgot. Someone told me that. So I've been saving it for a rainy day.
It's pretty fucking depressing, but damn, is it great? It's a really, really great film. But the great performance too. My God.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I'd love to see more Korean cinema on the collection as well. So
honestly, that's a pretty underrated Criterion now that I think about it. No one really talks about that movie, really, and yet it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Bill actually, when he recommended a film to me, he gave me a choice: either watch City of God or Secret Sunshine. And I chose City of God, which so I still haven't seen Secret Sunshine, but I'm excited to check it out.
Do you like City of God?
Oh yeah, masterpiece.
It's an amazing film. Yeah. Go ahead, Carlos. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think you're gonna love Secret Sunshine, Perry. It's like Perry core, honestly.
That sounds like a blind buy I might consider. Just the way you sold me on it. I don't know. If I find it, I might pick it up. Go ahead, Perry. What are you saying?
I was just gonna say, I like how that's everyone's mentality of, oh, it's lugubrious as hell. Perry's gonna win this.
Yeah.
True.
If it's lugubrious, it's Perry Core.
We got a lugubrious sound drop there. I love that. Bill, pick a lugubrious film for your next one, please.
A lugubrious. Ironically, well, when Perry was talking about Burning, it got me thinking like, fuck, I really love South Korean cinema. I really do. And Criterion barely has shit from Korea in their collection.
Only Bong Joon-ho and The One.
Yeah, just Bong Joon-ho and Lee Chang-dong. And so I'm thinking like, who's the next best filmmaker behind Bong Joon-ho? And that is Park Chan-wook. But I am not going to pick the one that will probably be in the collection. I'm picking one that literally Criterion is sitting on. Like they're literally sitting on it because they have the distribution rights for Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. Why the fuck have they not released The Handmaiden?
You're about to see. Oh my god, that was gonna be my number 3.
Oh fuck, I'm sorry, but
it's good.
You gotta admit though, like that movie is such a fucking great contemporary classic.
A masterpiece in my opinion. Yeah.
Like one of the best movies that's a streaming exclusive. Like it's crazy that that Bezos and his bald ass head owns this movie. But I'm hoping like Criterion gets their head out of their ass and is like, wait a minute, oh my god, we can release this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, the Handmaiden, what hasn't been said about it though, because I know everyone here loves that film.
Yeah,
I do.
That's my favorite Park Chan-wook film for sure. I love that film to death.
Wow.
Masterpiece.
Make sure you watch the theatrical, not the director's cut, because the director's cut changes the order of events and it fucks up the narrative.
I didn't know there was a director's cut, actually. Interesting.
Yeah, just stick with the theatrical.
For sure. That's like, I mean, I think I said this last episode, but I think Park Chan-wook is a master, like one of the greatest filmmakers of our generation. And like, it's so hard you can't really buy any of his movies on a physical release because they're all out of print or they're on the Region B. So you have to buy like a Region B player. But I think they're going to do a release for the Old Boy anniversary that's coming up since it's being re-released in theaters. So I'm hoping like they do a box set or something like aside from that, like of the Vengeance trilogy but The Handmaiden is my favorite. So like I would love a Criterion.
Honestly, every Park Chan-wook film I've seen could be a Criterion release. Like
absolutely. Thirst is great.
Thirst or what's that other one? I'm trying to think of JSA, Joint Security Area.
Yeah,
that's really good about North Koreans
film.
And South Korean Border Patrol officers.
Yes. I'm gonna watch that one really bad.
That's a great movie. They have a great Arrow release for that actually. If anyone wants to.
Yeah, but it ain't got the C.
There's no C.
There we go, Bill.
Yep.
That's literally the only. I think Decision to Leave has a movie release, but I'm like they're all beating around the bush.
Yeah, Decision to Leave on Criterion would be great too. Like literally any Park Chan-wook film.
I adore Decision to Leave. I know it was more of one of his more split down the middle movies in terms of the reception, but I love that film.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I'm kidding.
Since when is saying pretty good like a horrible thing?
It's not. No, it's not. Whose turn was it? Who was it?
I don't remember. Is it my turn?
Yeah. Because he brought up Handmaiden. So,
all right,
it's all you, my friend.
All right. So, my next film, I think it's my number 3.
Yep.
Is a film called The Fountain, written and directed by Darren Aronofsky. I don't think we have a Darren Aronofsky film in the Criterion collection yet.
I don't think so.
And I feel like if he ever does have one in the collection, it's kind of hard to tell which one it'll be. I can see them releasing really any of them at this point. I can see them doing The Wrestler. I can see him doing Requiem for a Dream. I can see them doing pretty much all of them. Even like Pi is probably up there because it's like one of his older ones and is like it's like really significant for his career and everything. But The Fountain is the one that I chose, not only do I think it's the most underrated Darren Aronofsky film, but it's actually my personal favorite from him.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's it's just, and I think like it'll fit really good in the collection, considering the fact that it is like really underrated in terms of like how many people actually really, really love the film. And yeah, it's just a fantastic film. It doesn't have a great release, so it'll be awesome to get it in there. But yeah, it's just it's a perfect like encapsulation of who Darren Aronofsky is as a filmmaker. Just super ambitious. Like even when it comes to the presentation of the film, it's just again really just out there. Just very like it's like just really embellished in the best way possible. He really goes for it with every single scene in the film. And I mean, thematically speaking, it's also really ambitious. I mean, this film is, I mean, like metaphorically, it's just like fucking everywhere. It's metaphor. It's like metaphors galore. Like everywhere you look, there's something to be like read into, and it's super interpretive and in certain ways abstract, and in a lot of ways it feels very simple and straightforward. It's just such a brilliant spiritual mindfuck of a film, and I loved it. I really, really did. Emotionally, for me, it was very effective, and cerebrally, it was also just a treat. Just a huge thinker of a film as well. So yeah, and the score from Clint Mansell is, my God, so fucking beautiful. The score to this film, it might be one of my favorite scores from him, if not my favorite score from him. Just so fucking like moving, and just matches everything visually and emotionally so well. Yeah, I have a whole video on The Fountain if you want to hear my more extensive thoughts. But yeah, I think The Fountain would be an awesome film to put in the collection. So yeah, that's my pick, The Fountain. If you've been sleeping on it, please take this time sometime soon to finally give it a shot. I can't promise that you're going to love it as much as I do, obviously, but I think it's worth your time for sure.
It's a pretty based pick, I would say. Like, that's one of his most underrated films. And it is a shame that there's no like real good definitive physical release of that yet. So yeah, that's a good pick, Carlos.
Thank you. The Bill Griff approves.
I unfortunately haven't seen The Fountain yet, despite me loving Darren Aronofsky's filmography. That's just the one I have not checked out, but I've heard from multiple people that it's like maybe his masterpiece. So I could definitely see that being inducted into the Criterion catalog. So
yeah, it's also like when you're watching, you can tell it was a passion project. It just feels really like personal in a lot of different ways. And he had to really fight for this movie to be made. Like, it wasn't even going to happen for a long time. Like, originally, I think he had like Brad Pitt on board. But then like a bunch of shit happened, and then like the whole project just fell through, and he didn't get to make it for like years or something. And then finally he was able to like, I don't know, I guess get investors and stuff to make it happen. And he made it happen. And it's just, I don't know, it's such a visually unique film, and I just love it to death.
Is that his follow-up to Requiem? The one right after?
I'm not sure.
Because I think it is, because I can't think of anything in between. And that's like a huge gap between, that's like 6 years. So it must have taken a long time to get that movie greenlit.
Because Black Swan came out, what, like 2007?
2010.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
The Wrestlers 2008, then it's like 2010 is Black Swan.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
You're correct.
You're right. Yeah. The Fountain was a follow-up. There was a 6-year. So
yeah, that's a huge gap. Yeah.
It must have taken, I think it's because it just took a long time for him to get that damn thing made.
And he almost directed like Batman Begins, I remember too. He was like in talks post Requiem. That would have been wild. And then obviously Noah came.
Movie.
Oh, then the original one. Possibly.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't have any films on there, because he's a pretty popular filmmaker. Then none of them have been released yet. You know, The Wrestler is another one I could see being on Criterion.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great pick, man. What do you guys think of The Whale, though?
Great film.
Really great film.
Yeah.
I love when he wailed. It was good.
You love when he wailed. It's good.
Good stuff.
Imagine if that's the one that got the Criterion release. Everyone would be like, "What the fuck?"
The cover should just be like a pizza covered in ranch. Okay, I'm gonna bring it down to a pretty lowbrow pick right now. It's a pretty chaotic pick, but I truthfully would love if they release this film. I want to see more modern comedies from about a decade. Not all of them, but certain ones. And I think that Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, would be a perfect Criterion because it was underrated in its heyday. It's developed an insane cult following. Mostly, I mean, I'm sure some normies love this movie. I'm sure a lot do. But a lot of film fans recognize this movie as an insanely great satirization on the musical biopic. Something like a piece of shit like Bohemian Rhapsody that's like beat for beat. It's just so perfectly satirizes it, but also it's such a love letter to like classic rock. My dad in particular loves this movie. And the music's incredible. It's really well directed. It's really well acted. I think it's like an elevated, modern comedy that kind of transcends what a spoof comedy would be. And I think I would just love to see more of those types of movies on Criterion because I think it is a little bit higher of like high. I don't want to sound pretentious, but like it's like higher art than other modern comedies because there's a lot of care and just like great
the satire.
Yeah. Just like, not to compare it to like Brazil or any of those other, but it's a brilliant modern satire. And
but
just
while also being really dumb at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of Criterion lovers they love those dumber, lower brow comedies. And I'd see like this one Criterion specifically releasing because there's a lot behind under the surface. And an incredible John C. Reilly performance should have been Oscar nominated, in my opinion. So, and I just think like we don't get comedies like at all anymore. And if they do, they're just not great.
Yeah.
So I want a time capsule from that era. And I think Walk Hard would be the one I would choose personally. So
I love that, dude.
Yes.
I love that. I love that movie too.
Me too. So good.
Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit.
It's reefer. He just starts listening.
I don't want to get addicted. Yeah. It's non-habit.
It's not addicted. It's not expensive. Oh man, that was just such a great fucking movie. Well, like if you guys were to put like a comedy, that you just
super
near and dear to your heart, yeah, Super Bad would be great.
I think Super Bad would be a great Criterion. Oh, Small Soldiers. Let's go, dude.
Small fucking soldiers. Anti-war. It's like it has cremator vibes for real.
Come and see vibes.
Yeah.
I would love to see Joe Dante on there. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Gremlins 2. Imagine Gremlins 2 in the Criterion Collection.
Not even the first one. They don't even regard that.
It's the second one. Gremlins 2 is really based, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it was a big like fuck you to the studio. They're like, yeah, well, I'm not going to do anything you want. I'm just going to go crazy with this sequel.
Office Space would be a great Criterion, honestly.
Yeah, that too. I was thinking about that one too.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead Do America. Why not?
Oh yeah, another Mike Judge film.
Yeah, Mike Judge.
Even though he's a prick, I would. What We Do in the Shadows would be a great Criterion release.
Yeah. I love that one, dude.
I agree on both things you said. I know he's a prick, but
I think I gave that movie a 10 out of 10. That's how much I loved it.
Oh, I thought you gave it 9.
I think I gave it a 10. I could be wrong, but in my review, I think I just said fuck it and gave it a 10 because I just loved it to death. I mean, maybe like it went down on my head, so maybe like on Letterboxd I went down like a half star, but initially I gave it a 10 because I was just. It's a film that has made me smile and laugh throughout the entire runtime. It just did not miss a beat.
That's Taika Waititi at his best. But then he's obviously gone down some rough rabbit holes since then. But Hunt for the Wilder People, I love.
Yeah.
Rabbit holes.
Speaking of overlooked films, Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, speaking of overlooked films, Boy by Taika Waititi is great. No one ever really seems to talk about that one.
Gotta see that.
Yeah, I gotta see that too.
Do you guys see the trailer for his like soccer movie?
No, but it sounds kind of base. I'm not gonna lie.
It looks kind of good. Like I really have not liked anything he's done in a long time, but that looks really good in my opinion. Michael Fassbender.
That sounds like my cup of tea.
Does Fassbender show dick in it? Because if so,
if not,
if not, I want nothing to do with it. Yeah. I will actually protest the movie outside.
Yeah. Okay. Perry.
So my number 3, I would actually like to dedicate this to one of my best friends from the Discord. She hasn't been here in the Discord as long as a lot of members I go back with, but she's quickly become one of my favorite people on the face of the planet. I would actually like to dedicate my number 3 to Rigby because I know how much she loves this film. This is a Palme d'Or winning film by everyone's favorite director, David Lynch. And of course, I'm talking about Wild at Heart, starring Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern.
Let's go.
So it's funny because Wild at Heart. Oh, let's see it. I want to see it.
Oh, you do. You want to see the normie Scream Factory? It's got a pretty good cover, though. I like the cover of this.
Yeah.
As you were.
Wild at Heart, I know it's a really controversial Palme d'Or winner film, but I know I say this about a lot of Lynch films, I praise them as masterpieces, but I consider Wild at Heart a masterpiece, personally. I think Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern just have such incredible chemistry together. Nicolas Cage, I mean, he does his own singing, and his dancing is amazing. And I love all of the allusions to Wizard of Oz and how that was a big influence on the film, and actually how it ties into the movie in the third act. Like, to me, that was like a really well set up, and the way it pays off in the end of the movie is incredibly well done. To me, it's just David Lynch, incredibly unhinged. And I really love that. And I really love the soundtrack to the movie. Like Chris Isaac's Wicked Game, the way that's incorporated in the film. I mean, it's obviously not his most like cerebral film, and I wouldn't say it's his best film, but it is an incredible film nonetheless. I just think it's a great film about rebellion and protecting your individuality and about identity. I mean, and it's easy to dismiss those themes or like gloss over how those themes are explored just because of how like insane and over the top the movie is. Willem Dafoe as Bobby Peru is an absolute cretin. I mean, Willem Dafoe, he's brilliant in everything in everything he does, but of course he's also brilliant in Wild at Heart as Bobby Peru. I really can't praise Wild at Heart enough. I really think it's an amazing film, and honestly, like, I know it's not like, I'm not going to say it's up there with, I'm not going to say, again, I'm not going to, Lynch has better films like Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire and Eraserhead, but nonetheless, I would still say Wild at Heart is a masterpiece.
Yes, sir. Before Carlos ridicules Wild at Heart, I'm just kidding. I love it so much that for a little bit, it was like top 2 Lynch movies for me. It's just electric. That movie is just electric chemistry between Laura Dern and Nick Cage, and the Elvis scene when he sings in the club is just God. And I feel like it's Lynch just having the most fun, joyful experience of his career making that movie. So I feel the infection when you watch that. And of course, the snakeskin quote. I'm blanking. Yes. Do you remember what it is? It's such a great Nick Cage moment.
This jacket, the snakeskin jacket, is a symbol of my individuality and a belief in personal freedom.
Yeah, individual.
individual situation.
They really got into a few situations in that movie. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I adore the film, so I would love it. And like that's the one of the few Lynch films that aren't a Criterion. Yes, I mean like besides Dune and The Straight Story, I think that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can totally see it be added though, because Criterion has quite a few little rambunctious movies in their collection that kind of emulate that Wild at Heart energy. I mean, we just got Thelma and Louise added, which is also a road trip crime film that just got added. So, yeah.
Makes a ton of sense for sure.
All the more reason, and I mentioned him earlier, Greg Araki's The Living End deserves a Criterion release.
Oh, yeah. Or Doom Generation.
Yes.
Mysterious Skin.
Or Mysterious Skin.
Both those, like a box set, yeah.
Yeah, an entire box set.
What's your favorite Araki film?
Mysterious Skin.
Yeah, Mysterious Skin.
I have a soft spot for Doom Generation and Smiley Face a lot, but if you were to really ask me, it's definitely Mysterious Skin as his masterpiece. And I agree with you. I feel like they're really sneaking in. They're going to do a something for him. I hope so. Sweet.
Yeah, he's actually my 9th favorite filmmaker of all time. And you got to think Doom Generation is basically his version of Band of Outsiders. And Band of Outsiders, again, has a Criterion release. So it makes sense for Doom Generation to get in there.
Now they've been doing more queer cinema and like it all just fits perfectly. So
yeah,
I would love it. Okay. Back to Bill then.
Okay. I'm trying not to pick movies that are over the year 2000, but I think based off this film, I really want to see it be added to the collection because there's no definitive physical release of it. And this is a film I just watched this year and gave it a 10 out of 10 instantly, which I did not expect because I don't actually really like Lars von Trier. But 2003's Dogville is cinema. Yeah. It is one of the best things I've seen from him, for sure. It's my favorite von Trier. And it's such an experimental film that stars the incomparable Nicole Kidman, the goddess herself, who plays a very, very unlucky girl who stumbles into a very, very disgusting town full of terrible human beings. Dogville. Oh my God. It's just, I can't stress how experimental it is, how incredible the filmmaking techniques are in how von Trier executed the set design for the film, because it's just chalk lines. That's all it is. It's just chalk lines and door sound effects and foot sound effects. And there's so many different things that are in this film. So many great eclectic characters. It's like a Wes Anderson film, really, but not. It's like the skeletal structure of a Wes Anderson.
It's the anti-Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, the meat, the guts, everything's gone. It's just the skeleton. And the fact that he's able to make the film as compelling as it is with just chalk lines in a soundstage just goes to show at how brilliant his directing capabilities are with this very, very all-star cast. Like, holy shit. Everyone brings their A game to this film. Fucking, of course, Stellan Skarsgård, Chloe Sevigny, Ben Gazzara, late stage Ben Gazzara, who gives an incredible performance as a blind man. The mom, and the mom from Holes, who plays the church woman.
The bus driver in Forrest Gump also.
Yep. And then, of course, James Caan, him as well.
Philip Baker Hall.
Yeah.
Ido Kier.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy cast.
You just keep going down. And, of course, oh God, what's his name? That's the narrator for the film.
Oh, John Hurt.
Yes, John Hurt with his incredible voice. Holy cow. I could listen to that guy read anything. So, yeah, Dogville is definitely one that I think is Criterion core and should be added because there's no way at all to get the film at all. So yeah.
Yeah, dude.
The name of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna quickly say that it's just kind of insane that they haven't put that out yet. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's coming soon, dude. I mean, Von Trier is all over the Criterion collection already, and that's just gonna be the next one. I swear it is.
The name of the actress who plays who's in Dogville, who plays the bus driver from Forrest Gump, is Saban Fallon Hogan. She's also in Funny Game. She's also in The House that Jack Built, and she's also in Fred the Movie as Fred's mom.
Oh shit! Damn.
And also in Daddy Daycare. Don't forget that. This is the weirdest filmography ever.
Yeah.
It's like Von Trier and then a bunch of like 2000s comedies.
She doesn't discriminate.
Also, casually forgot Lauren Bacall, who's the lady from fucking
Of course.
so many classic films in Hollywood.
Big Sleep. Yeah.
Schmitty Bacall.
I feel like, yeah, that's like one of the most based picks so far. Because like every time Dogville is brought up, everyone's like, God, I hate how there's no like physical release. And it's just, it's very, I mean, I can name any Von Trier. And I wish like also Melancholia and House That Jack Built, Nymphomaniac. Those all deserve Criterions eventually. So, but Dogville for sure is number one on the wish list there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I got nothing.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm really happy that Bill picked Dogville because Lars von Trier is my 5th favorite filmmaker of all time. Dogville is actually my favorite von Trier film, and Dogville happened to be my 5th favorite film of all time.
Yep.
Wow. Sweet.
Based lugubrious Perry right there. That in the top 5.
That's a lugubrious pick too, Bill.
What if you don't mind me asking, Perry, just real rapid fire quick, what are your top 5 favorite films?
Number 5 is Dogville. Number 4 is Autumn Sonata. Number 3 is Persona. Number 2 is Taxi Driver, and number 1 is A Clockwork Orange.
Okay, cool. I knew that you loved all those films, but I forgot like what order they were in. That's cool.
Pretty lugubrious picks there.
Yeah.
Not myopic at all, Perry.
What are your top 5?
Oh, I plead the 5th. I can't answer that. I'm not as prepared as Perry for that answer.
I couldn't do that either. I'd have to think about it for like an hour. But anyway, Carlos, you're next.
Sweet. All right. So my next pick for Dream Criterion, it's a film that I feel like a lot of people would also love to see on Criterion. This really is like a dream Criterion because I just don't think it's going to happen because of like conflict of rights and stuff like that. But it's There Will Be Blood. A film that does not have a good physical release at all. This is pretty much the best you're going to get in terms of getting this film.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, to me, I would actually consider this film to be objectively like the greatest 20 to 25 films ever made. I know it's new. It's not even new. It's kind of old now, like in terms of like how many years it's been out. But in the grand scheme of the history of cinema, it's obviously like more on the new side. And I understand that it hasn't had like a lot of time to like really settle. But I still I love that movie so much. And I still feel confident to say that I do think it is up there as one of the all-time greatest films ever made. And the fact that we only get like this, normie Blu-ray release of it, that is, I mean, the cover is good, at least the poster they use is pretty good, but we just need something that has like amazing packaging. Everything that Criterion would do for this film is what we need. Mountain of extras, and just, yeah, I mean, it's a film that just really deserves that, and it needs to happen. It's just a brilliant film. It's one of the few films I can call like perfect in every way. And but again, I don't know if we're ever going to get it. I just know that there's like a lot of rights issues and stuff happen like happening with it, which is the reason why we can't get it. But I would still love to see it. I would still I would jump on the floor and through my roof if this got a Criterion release.
Hell yeah. PTA has Punch Drunk Love, Hard 8. That's it, right?
It doesn't even have Hard 8.
I thought Hard 8 was Criterion.
No.
I guess I'm wrong.
Only Punch Drunk Love.
But like one of the modern, greatest filmmakers of our generation, the fact that he doesn't have more is pretty crazy. But I think it's a rights issue. I think you're right. The Master would be another one I would love to have on Criterion. Yeah.
Even Phantom Thread would be great. It's it's one of his newer ones, but that fits right well in there.
It does. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that on the 2000s episode pretty extensively. So
we don't have to spend too much time talking about how fucking perfect the film is.
Yeah, I was trying to think I said everything back last episode, but yeah, I agree with everything you said.
The cover should be a milkshake.
Yes,
oil spewing out and Paul Dano's bruised face.
I was gonna say a bowling pin would be a great cover.
Oh yeah, a bowling pin with the milkshake on the top and then spewing out black shit, and then
Paul Dano's dead body.
a ring of fire all around it, and a little kid that's sad because he's on a train leaving.
Oh,
he deserved it. No, I'm just kidding.
Logan Roy Core. For sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Inherent Vice? Question mark? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Lost me.
I just wanted to ruffle your feathers.
It's not a bad movie. It's just kind of mid for me.
Yeah, that's fair. That was the first ever argument in the Discord was about that movie, so I have nostalgia for it now. Where I was like, I love that movie. And everyone's like, what the fuck is wrong?
What's wrong with you? You got something wrong with your brain, bro? Seriously?
I mean, I do.
Do you even film? Do you even film, bro?
No, I'm just here for the vibes of. Okay.
Yeah, we can move on.
Oh yeah. Let's move on. My number 3, I believe.
I thought it was number 2.
Number 2.
We're at number 2. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Brain is rotting out of my skull. My number 2 is from my favorite filmmakers in the world, the Coen brothers, and I'm gonna go with A Serious Man on Criterion. I adore that film to death. It's in my top 3 favorite Coen brothers films, which I know is a crazy take because they have such a great filmography, but that's a film that just has stuck with me ever since I saw it, and I rewatch it almost yearly now. I think it's a masterful look and satirization on Jewish culture and Jewish religion, the Jewish politics with capitalism, and the kind of contemporary family life. 1960s, 70s family life. I can't remember. But
I thought it was.
Did I get the? No, I got the decade wrong for sure. I don't know.
You're good. Go ahead.
But I just find this film so endlessly fascinating. I think there's so much behind the surface that the Coen brothers are kind of depicting their own religious upbringing in a way, but to me, over time, it's really been kind of it's transcended to anyone who grew up in a religious household, to where I can find really relatable aspects of that movie in certain situations. And Michael Stuhlbarg in that movie, I think, is an incredibly underrated kind of Book of Job-esque character, where so much is heaped on his life, and at such biblical proportions, especially towards the end. In some ways, I think it's one of their most complicated films, and I think it's also one of their most divisive at the same time. But over time, I think a lot of people have grown to appreciate that film and for what it is, despite it being so bizarre and kind of alienating towards a lot of people. But I think it's a masterpiece, and I think it's one of their most not only their most underrated film, but I think one of their best long-lasting films. And I think it'd be great to preserve it on Criterion. So And they're doing more of the Coen brothers, which I love. I mean, they did Miller's Crossing recently, so yeah, I would love nothing more.
And we already got Inside Llewyn Davis, so it's just like
That,
keep it coming.
That too. I mean, it probably wouldn't happen, but like, I just imagine like how great The Big Lebowski would do on Criterion. You know, God,
yeah, absolutely. It would kill on Criterion.
It would if people would go out of their way. And similar to PTA, I would buy any film, despite a few on Criterion that they would release, for sure. Have you guys seen that movie?
I have.
Yeah.
I really love it. That's actually a really base pick because I would say it's one of their most existential films, especially with the ending. My goodness, the ending, just incredible.
Yeah, A Serious Man is the next Coen Brothers film I plan to see. I hear nothing but excellent things about it.
I think it's partly Carlos Core.
Yes.
Part of the lugubrious aspect to it. Yeah. And just some of their funniest, darkest humor ever. Like I don't want to spoil, but there's so many things where you just laugh out loud comedy for a Coen Brothers film. So
I love how it has the asshole from Big Bang Theory, that guy that plays Howard Wolowitz, how he's a rabbi or something in the film.
Yeah. He's like, just look at the parking lot and how beautiful it is. So yeah. All right. There's a scene towards the middle, like where there's like a dentist tale that one of the rabbis tells him, with like a Jimi Hendrix song underneath. That's like one of I think the best thing the Coen brothers have ever done. If you know what I'm talking about, it's kind of like a fable that one of them said. And just so much of that movie I just adore. So,
not to mention the inclusion of I believe it's "Want Somebody to Love" by
like Queen.
No,
it's
I believe it's a Jefferson Airplane, right? Or is it Janis Joplin?
Want somebody to love.
Oh, you need somebody.
Is it Patrick Stump? Is that it?
No, Patrick Stump.
No. Patrick Stump. That's the guy from Fall Out Boy.
That was the first thing that came up.
What the fuck?
God, Spotify screws me again. Oh, Jefferson Airplane. You're right.
Jefferson Airplane. I was right. I knew it.
Got it. Yeah. Actually, no, it's Fall Out Boy. What do you mean? There was a Fall Out Boy that did the "We Didn't Start the Fire" remix. Who did that shit?
It was Fall Out Boy.
God, I feel bad for bringing them up. Even
they really fell off after that second album. Don't get me wrong, I love the early stuff, but I cannot.
Me too. Yeah, their new stuff is pretty garbage.
They really did. They really did fall out.
All right, Perry.
What's your pick?
My number 2, y'all actually just talked about this film with Mike on your 90s episode. This is from Certified Creep.
Oh no, here we go.
Roger Ebert's favorite was Roger Ebert's favorite person to ever walk this planet. This is Buffalo 66 by Vincent Gallo, excuse me.
Amazing movie.
Yes. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I know y'all just talked about it with Mike in the 90s episode. But one thing I really hate about this film that gets criticized is how people undersell Christina Ricci's character. And they're just like, oh, she's just a manic pixie dream girl trope. It's like, no, there's actually a lot more depth to her character. I feel like there's a really great dynamic between Billy and Christina Ricci's character. And I hate how this movie just gets called incel core. I feel like it's a criminal oversimplification of the film.
It's almost like, it feels almost opposite incel core to me.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's one thing to do the whole screenwriting 101 to make you immediately care about the character, have them lose their job, have their girlfriend dump them, or have them get beaten up like, Joker or something like that. It's another thing to take a very like unlikable character who's just a fucking asshole, and to get the audience more on their side as the film progresses. To me, that is a bigger hurdle and a much more interesting way to go in terms of writing a narrative like this.
100%. Just because a movie has a quote unquote incel character doesn't mean the movie itself has intentions of being an incel movie.
Exactly.
Like, the way it unravels, he's so vulnerable and completely broken down by the end of the movie, literally being coddled in bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love how, without really necessarily in flashback showing his past or anything, just the way that the narrative progresses, it really showcases how Vincent Gallo's character obviously has trouble opening himself up to people and being vulnerable, and even showing affection. There's this one scene in the bed, I think, where it just kind of really shows you how he yearns for affection, but he just has trouble. It just, for him, it just seems it's so abnormal to show affection, and I think it displays that about his character really well in a way that the way that Perry said it, it is kind of frustrating for people to kind of dilute it as incel core, when this film goes out of its way to show substantive moments like that in it. But yeah.
Not to mention Heart of the Sunrise. I mean, that song, it's incorporated in the film. My God, just mind-blowing stuff. See what I did there? Mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah, dude, that sequence in the end, dude, oh my God. It was I always imagined that song being used in a movie. I had no idea that it was. And then when I watched this film, I was like, holy shit, they're using it. And not only did they use it, they used it with almost all of its potential, just really, really well incorporated.
Yeah. Not to mention, it does get into the whole nature versus nurture conversation, because you see a lot of how Billy Blue became who he is, how it just comes from his parents, and the way his parents have trouble showing affection and conveying their emotion, the way the father is too quick to yell to try to communicate with someone.
Yeah, I love that entire scene that we get between him and Richie's character and the family interactions. I thought that was a really telling scene.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The way that film is shot too, it's it reminds you of an Ozu film, where the way it's framed, it kind of breaks the whole 180 degree rule sort of thing, and it's so effective the way it cuts around that scene. And Ben Gazzara, I love the scene where he puts on the record and sings for Christina Ricci. There's some of the best uses of music in cinema history, honestly. Yeah,
absolutely,
so good. Okay, I think we're at number 1. Yeah.
Yep.
Bill, would you like
the Bill Griff?
Yep. Well, I was debating having it be City of God for my number 1, but I'm gonna switch it up here. That's just also me being able to casually say City of God should be in the Criterion Collection. But anyways,
just throw it in there.
My number 1 pick. I really want to cheat. I want to cheat and say his whole filmography.
Do it.
But
Paul W.S. Anderson, right?
Yeah, exactly. We gotta have a Tim story up in here. But no. My number 1 is gotta be Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh, that's such a good fucking pick, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I didn't pick that.
I just rewatched that this weekend with a friend, and wow. Yeah, it's still fucking timeless. It's still, I think, him at the height of his power and capabilities. Him and Ennio Morricone's excellent score. Say what you will about of course, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is fucking great, but outside of wah 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 wah, of course, outside of that song, the rest of the soundtrack is pretty good, but the entire soundtrack of Once Upon a Time in the West is fucking fantastic, phenomenal. Henry Fonda plays such a fucking compelling and amazing villain in that movie. And Charles Bronson simply named the harmonica guy, like how he's able to take that no-name archetype from Clint Eastwood and build upon it to reveal, like, have such an insane revelation in the third act of his character. It's just, there's so much to this movie that I adore, absolutely. And I think it is considered one of the best Westerns ever made. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, Criterion barely has shit when it comes to Westerns in their collection. Like, maybe, I think they've got like 10, maybe 10, maybe a little less than 10. Like, right off the bat, I'm thinking like Gunfighter, Power of the Dog, Red River, The Furies.
Yeah, not the ones you'd expect, like no John Ford.
Stagecoach, yep. One John Ford.
Like,
but
but
yeah, just no spaghetti Western at all, which is stupid because spaghetti Westerns were like the backbones for that genre that really revitalized it and breathed new life into it. And yeah, I didn't want to just be basic and say the Dollars trilogy. And I didn't want to go a little too contemporary and say Once Upon a Time in America. So I'm saying Once Upon a Time in the West because there's no real good release for it. I think there's one shitty Blu-ray, but no 4K. And oh my lord, that movie in 4K would go so hard.
Oh hell yeah, it would, dude. It would
go so fucking hard.
That movie is fucking shot like brilliantly from start to finish. Some of the best fucking camera work I've seen in almost any film. So fucking good.
Oh yeah, easily. Like how they frame all of the characters, the whole opening 20 minutes of the movie too. It should be taught in schools on how to build suspense.
It was taught in my school, actually. The opening sequence was taught in my school.
Me too, yeah. I haven't watched.
Straight up. It's that revolutionary. Like, it's that important to cinema history. And Criterion, I think they would sell so many copies of it if they released a 4K of it. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. I think I'll be over the moon about that more than anything, honestly. Like, I don't even know why I didn't include that in my list. But I'm glad you did. Because fuck, it deserves it.
Yeah. So that's my pick. Once Upon a Time in the West from 1968.
Great pick.
Yeah, I'm so glad you picked that. Phenomenal film. Masterpiece.
Absolutely. Not to mention how often do you get to see Henry Fonda play the villain? Because when you think Henry Fonda, you think juror number 8 from 12 Angry Men or Tom from the Grapes of Wrath. So to see him play such a compelling villain is so rare. And I love it when actors play against type, you know?
Me too.
Yeah. And he's a real piece of shit too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, like some kind of soft villain. Like he's a hardcore villain.
Yeah. He has such great dialogue too. Like that one underling before he kills him, he's like, trust you. I wouldn't trust you. You're a man with a
belt and suspenders.
Belt and suspenders.
Why would I trust somebody who can't trust his own pants?
Yeah. It's fucking great. Oh my god.
That.
Some Aaron Sorkin dialogue for real.
So good.
Yeah, I would love to see. I know you said that the Dollars trilogy is on the nose, but I would buy that as well. Like, because I don't think I've never seen a good release for those movies, and they're so like cinematically rich to just rewatch. I would buy that in a heartbeat. Same with In America.
Not to mention they have Yojimbo in the Criterion collection.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, the first film in the Dollars trilogy is just a remake of Yojimbo.
Yeah.
I think Kurosawa was kind of pissed off at Leone about that.
Yeah, he sued him.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he got hella sued to Kingdom Come. But I mean, just seeing how the others just got announced, and that is isn't that a remake of The Innocents?
The Innocents, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I cannot wait to get Don't Look Now on 4K. That's like the one that got away from me.
I'm kind of pissed because like I bought Don't Look Now right before it went out of print, just out of sheer luck.
Sucker.
And I felt really like special that I was like, yes, I'm the guy that has Don't Look Now. Nobody else has it. Now Criterion's like, oh, we're coming with the 4K now. I'm like, okay, great. Now my Don't Look Now Blu-ray is fucking worth nothing.
Not just that, but they brought the Blu-ray back too, so it's just completely pointless.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would have done the same thing. Like, who knew they were going to re-release it on 4K though? You know, it's such a great movie.
Especially that movie. It seems kind of like pretty. It's not like the most obscure movie, but like it's not like people talk about it every day. So
yeah.
Another underrated. I feel like a film that a lot of people don't talk about enough when it comes to Leone is A Fistful of Dynamite, aka
Duck You Sucker.
Duck You Sucker. I feel like that would be like perfect for the Criterion collection.
That's the one I haven't seen. I really want to see it.
It's really great.
I say the one I haven't seen, but I haven't seen any of the Fistful of Dollars. Well, I've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but I haven't seen A Few Dollars More or Fistful of Dollars.
Same here. Which I don't think that are they like connected story-wise at all?
No.
Yeah, I figured. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was like the first ever revival screening I went to, and it was like, holy shit. It made me want to just rewatch all the classics in theaters. It was so fun.
Yeah. Okay. It's literally a perfect film, just like Once Upon a Time in the West.
I think I have a hot take. I actually don't know if I gave The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly a 10 out of 10 at first, but I don't know if I would stand with that now, because there is this really long sequence nearing the third act involving like blowing up.
I know what you're talking about.
Bridge kind of thing. And like, God, I forgot how long that sequence is. And it always hits a point where I'm like, I just really want the sequence to be over.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
So, I don't know. I don't. What?
You were onto something when you gave it a 10 out of 10 when you reviewed it. Don't backtrack now.
Don't you put that 10 on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I'll have to watch it again to really like make sure, but it doesn't matter. It's still a fucking fantastic piece of filmmaking.
Tarantino will slit your throat if you change it to an 8 out of 10. Alrighty, that's a great final pick from Billy.
Yeah.
Now Carlos.
All right. So my number one Dream Criterion is a Mexican film called Macario. This is a film that just screams Criterion in every single way possible. It's a pretty old film. It came out in I think it came out in 1960 exactly, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a film that needs restoration. Like, it's in desperate need of a restoration. There's scenes in this movie that are just straight up damaged looking. And they need a team of people to really restore this film to the best of their ability. And it's just a beautiful film. I wrecked this film in the Discord like a few months ago, maybe like 4 months ago or so. And pretty much everybody loved that film. Everybody loved it. Even Mitchie in the chat, who's like the most critical towards films, he even gave that film a 9 out of 10. And it's like, I think the 4th or 5th most loved film in the Discord. Like, everybody loved that film. And I think it's amazing because obviously I think it's a beautiful fucking movie. It's really like allegorical. It's incredibly metaphorical, and it's just such an entertaining and also humorous kind of film. There's kind of like some dark humor thrown in the mix throughout the experience. That's really great. But it's just like it's a very like thought-provoking film that makes you think a lot about appreciating the life that you have. It makes you think a lot about what really is selfishness and what's not. Makes you think a lot about the choices you make in life and the sacrifices you have to make. And death is a huge part of this film. It is arguably like the central theme of this film. I don't want to talk too much about it really, because I know that a lot of people probably haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil too much about like its messages and stuff. But yeah, just know that this film is amazing. You can watch it on YouTube right now for free. It's just uploaded and you could just watch it.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's really not that long of a film. I think it's like around an hour and a half. So yeah, please check this film out. And again, it deserves to be on Criterion. Like, it has no physical release at all, really. I mean, I think you can buy some crappy DVD somewhere, but that's about it. So this, like, everything about this movie screams like Criterion. So that's why it's my number one. Like, not only is it a beautiful fucking movie, but like culturally speaking, like in terms of like cinema history, like this is a very, very important film. I think it was the first Mexican film to be nominated for an Oscar.
Oh wow.
Or at least it's the first Mexican film to be nominated for Best Foreign Language Film. But yeah, really, really, really fantastic film, and that's why it's my number one. It just really needs to be on the collection.
Nice.
Yeah, how I was talking about how films that would fit the Criterion collection, how they already have complementary pieces in the collection. I feel like Macario is most comparable to the Seventh Seal. I mean, the influence to me is undeniable, and I feel like fans of the Seventh Seal will really connect with Macario because tonally and story wise, it reminds me so much of the Seventh Seal.
Yeah. It also reminds me of Devi from Satyajit Ray.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. A lot of influence.
Another fantastic film, by the way.
Is Macario, is that 1960?
I think it's 1960 on the dot, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm wondering, like, at what point, where did it come out in comparison to those two films?
Seventh Seal was 57.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick. It definitely needs a proper restoration. I could totally see like the World Cinema Project getting a hold of that and restoring that to its glory. Maybe giving it a standalone release like what they did with Tuki Buki.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Or Black Girl.
Yes. Yes, that's an underrated Criterion right there, is Black Girl. But
yeah, that would have been a good one. Shit.
Yeah. That's good number one pick, Carlos. I agree. I really loved Macario.
I need to check that out.
Thank you so much.
I hadn't even heard of it before.
Oh man, fucking great, dude.
It's fucking brilliant, especially the third act. It's just so fucking insane.
Carlos actually talked about it on the podcast before when y'all talk about what great films have you seen recently. Carlos did bring up Macario.
Oh, you did?
One of the episodes.
Oh yeah, I think I did actually.
My bad.
No, it's okay. No worries at all.
I need to do a Mexican cinema binge with that and Canoa.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great.
And then just pretend Humberto D is Mexican too.
Yeah, there you go. That's been on my list forever. Actually, I need
Humberito.
Humberito.
No, it'd be Roberto. It'd be Roberto D.
Roberto D.
Is that the new Taco Bell box?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Queso Humberto.
Humberito.
Suizo.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
That's a really good pick. I will check that out. You said
Please
it's on YouTube, you said?
Yep. And it has subtitles and everything, so
perfecto.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put that on the list.
Perfecto.
All right. I'll do my number one. A quick honorable mention, because Perry mentioned how he'd love to see a Gregor Rocky box set. I initially I wanted to do a Harmony Korine box set, but I realized that's cheating. But I would love to see Gummo on there.
Fuck yeah!
I think it'd be a great even if they did like his earliest stuff like Gummo and Julian Donkey Boy, I'd be really thrilled to see more to like Dogma 95 stuff. Would be really cool. But my number one is something that I've been dying to have just a really special release because it's actually my favorite horror film of all time. And I know people would jump at the opportunity to buy this film on Criterion, and that is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I think I speak for a lot of people where I think Blair had said that this is one of her favorite horror films of all time, and this is probably my number one, if I would really break it down. And this film is just so culturally important to modern cinema and even like experimental horror, because a lot of people that haven't seen this film don't realize how like avant-garde this movie it really is in terms of the presentation and the way it's shot, the sound design. Like it really is like an assault on all of your senses when you see it for the first time, and it can be quite overwhelming. And to me is like the encapsulation and what horror filmmaking is capable of. And a lot of like the budget constraints and the kind of guerrilla style of filmmaking work in the advantage of making this such an unforgettable experience. And to see that film restored to its former glory, I have a Blu-ray that's just like pretty passable, but to see a 4K restoration of this film, I think would be any horror or film fans just wet dream. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, it's just one of the most culturally important horror films to ever exist. I mean, they've done Night of the Living Dead. They've done The Innocents. I just would love to see more classic horror released to the collection, and Texas Chainsaw would definitely be at the top of the list.
Hell the fuck yeah, dude. That's an amazing film. And Criterion needs more horror too, so
desperately. Yeah.
Desperately.
I mean, seeing that they're releasing some classic horror like Freaks and whatnot for October, like that's great to see. But we definitely need some 70s era horror films in the collection, because the 70s and 80s were so fucking revolutionary for the genre. And Texas Chainsaw was one of the most experimentally significant films in horror. So I definitely respect that as your number one pick. Faux show.
Oh, thank you.
And isn't it almost like a public domain type of movie? Because I see there's so many different versions of it out there. Feels like almost every boutique label except for Criterion has it.
It does. Yeah. There's like Shout Factory. There's every other boutique label has done some. They've done sequels and other things, but like the original's never gotten like a full remaster that it deserves, and at least, you know. I think there's a 4K, but like Perry said, if it ain't C, it ain't for me.
Yeah, it would be a perfect pairing with Night of the Living Dead. That's on the
Criterion. Exactly. It was kind of my line of thinking. You know, there's so many horror films that I was trying to juggle with. You know, like I'd love to see like a late period Hitchcock film or like another Romero. I was thinking of Italian horror, but like I couldn't pick like, you know, Suspiria or any of them individually. So.
Right.
You could do a whole episode on horror films that deserve to be in the Criterion if you really think, you know, even modern like A24 horror could fit into that category.
Yeah, that sounds like a good video I need to do. Top 10 horror films that belong on Criterion Collection.
You're welcome. Do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carlos, you're obviously not exclusively a horror channel, but I'd say you're a big voice when it comes to speaking on the behalf of horror.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, I do love horror. I mean, every film that I've made so far has been at least in some way horror. All of my shorts, and my newest short film coming out is also it's like psychological horror. So,
ooh,
yep.
Ooh. You know, Eraserhead is what caught my attention when we were talking about it last time. I was like, that's not exactly like, you know, pure horror, obviously, but it kind of got me thinking of, you know, films in that vein that could be on Criterion that we need more of. So go ahead, Perry. Sorry.
I was going to say, the only reason I wouldn't want a Harmony Korine box set is I do not want Trash Humpers in the Criterion collection. I will die on this hill. This is one of the worst pieces of shit I have ever seen in my life. I mean, don't get me wrong. I respect Harmony Korine as a filmmaker. Gummo to me is a masterpiece, but my goodness, Trash Humpers is like a 0 out of 10 movie if I've ever seen one.
It'll grow on you, Perry.
Is it worse than the Curse of La Llorona?
Yes, I would say.
That's damn, bro. Curse of La Llorona's that movie literally humps trash, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
I would take Trash Humpers over any modern dog shit horror movie that they release, or personally. But I know what you're saying. It's pretty vile to a lot of people.
At least Trash Humpers, in a way. I mean, I've never fucking seen the movie. I don't fucking know, but maybe there is at least a personality to it, as opposed to the Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah, that was my point. Yeah, that's
Curse of La Llorona is literally just like manufactured fucking garbage. Manufactured soulless garbage.
Yeah,
that movie has. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry. I was just saying, but films like La Llorona and like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey are so disposable. I could just move on from them. Trash Humpers like made me want to stop being a film critic. Like it made me want to give up being a YouTube personality in general. Movie made me so depressed just watching it.
Aside from that, though, like I would love Spring Breakers Criterion also.
Yes, hell yeah.
But you're saying Trash Humpers was a lugubrious experience?
Oh yeah,
but not in a good way.
It's existential cinema. But yeah, that's the Harmony Korine thing is definitely a long shot as well, though, because like I don't know if he's have the most beloved. He has a pretty good fan base, but I don't know if it warrants Criterion as much as like a Rocky, let's say. But I would still like Gummo is especially. I would love to have a proper release on there. Okay, yeah, that finishes it out for me. So Perry, King of Criterions. What's that number one for you?
Well, we've been throwing around the word lugubrious a lot in this podcast. And I feel like lugubrious perfectly captures my number one. So my number one film is arguably one of the most depressing films ever made. It is written and directed by Charlie Kaufman from 2008. It is Synecdoche, New York.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my personal favorite Charlie Kaufman film. And it's interesting because, again, going back to talking about complementary films in the Criterion collection, if this is in the collection, then this would work in the collection. Well, Synecdoche, New York, to me, not to oversimplify such a multi-dimensional film, is Kaufman's 8.5. It's a meditation on art, and it is Kaufman literally meditating on himself as an artist and the role his art plays in not only his life but in the lives of others. And it's like I feel like a lot of great filmmakers have their own version of 8.5. Tarantino has Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I said, Kaufman has Synecdoche, New York. Francois Truffaut has Day for Night. And of course, Fellini, being the banal fucker he is, has his version of 8.5 called 8.5. I know the title is
very, very on par.
But going back to Synecdoche, New York, to me, it's just such an incredible character study. And to me, I would put it in the conversation as one of the greatest films ever made, because one thing I love about the film is how it captures time and how it's so elusive to us in our human experience. And it really does capture how we're here for only just a brief moment, but we'll be dead for an eternity. And it's such a brutally honest film. Yes, there are layers of artifice to it, but all of that artifice is intentional because it's capturing how we put so much of ourselves into our art, and that plays such an important part in our lives, because in a way all we're going to leave behind is the art that we make in this lifetime, and how that is going to supersede the longevity, or should I say lack of longevity, within our own existence. Like, we're here for a brief moment, but the art that Kaufman and so many great filmmakers and great artists leave behind, it will surpass them. And again, I don't want to say that it creates a legacy, because again, this film, I don't want to say that it promotes the idea of a legacy, because again, it goes back to time and the enormity of time, and how everything is born and destroyed by the enormity of time. Everything is obliterated by the enormity of time, whether it is a person or the art that they create, which again, I think ties into themes of a ghost story. So for those of you who love a ghost story, I could also see you really connecting with Synecdoche, New York. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, I mean, he's such a brilliant actor, but to me, this is like his best role. Like, this is, I would say, Synecdoche, New York, as far as acting, is his magnum opus. He gives such an incredibly devastating performance as the lead, and it's so easy for the film to come off as Kaufman is just being up his own ass and writing himself into his own movie. But it's a lot more nuanced and thought-provoking than that. It's not just, I want to write myself into my own movie and be a fucking narcissist. There's a lot more to the film than that.
Yes. I that's my favorite thing Kaufman's ever touched. And I would love to see that. They already have Bijan Malkovich on Criterion, so it'd be great to get more Kaufman on there. Anything he's directed as well. Huge fan.
All of my favorite Kaufman material has been directed by Spike Jonze. Adaptation and Bijan Malkovich are basically my two favorite Kaufman films that he wrote, basically. In terms of the stuff that he directed, I think Synecdoche, New York is my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Which is really not saying much, because you're not huge on I'm thinking of ending things. But I love with Synecdoche, New York, how it's Kaufman writing and directing, how it's him just so fully untethered. He holds nothing back. He is here to just be as brutally honest as possible without a director, giving some kind of some flamboyant flair to his very existential screenplays that are very devastating in terms of what they deal with thematically. It's just him completely untethered.
It does. Yeah. It feels like a full brain scan of Charlie Kaufman's psychosis and how he deals with his relationships in relation to his art, and how time consuming the whole process is. Like, it's such a profound look at the creative process. It's
an insanely meta movie.
Yeah.
Not to mention just the way it just deals with loneliness and death. And there's so much phenomenal dialogue in the film of when he's talking about everyone knows that they're going to die. All of us hope in some way that we don't, just how, and just the delivery by Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's such an incredibly profound experience. And honestly, you're just not the same person once you watch the film.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience.
It's hard to talk about, though, because I have such an emotional attachment to the film, and a lot of the thoughts that run through the main character of that film are things that I think about constantly. So it is very deeply affecting to me personally.
That's good. And I would buy the Criterion the second they drop it. I love that film.
I would too. I would buy all of the number one picks here that we provided, to be honest.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Macario, Synecdoche, New York, Harmony Korine box set, but more specifically Gummo, Once Upon a Time in the West. That would be an insane quad feature right there.
Texas Chainsaw was my pick,
Texas
actually.
Chainsaw. Oops, my bad. I had a brain fart.
Sort of also Gummo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another 8.5 film to me is All That Jizz. I feel like that movie is
absolutely
very self-reflective. And Carlos, I hope you go back and go buy that copy that you threw away.
Yeah,
the whole video.
bastard.
Wow. It's a blind buy though. I had other films that I want to buy.
Do you not do blind buys anymore?
No, I do, but like if there's other films that I have seen that I really love, I'm gonna prioritize that over a blind buy.
That's fair. That's fair. I know you were saying it's because it's a musical, but like I don't think it's not your typical musical. In my opinion.
That's what I hear.
So just some food for thought for the next haul. And Perry, you're gonna be there. You could force it into the pile at least.
Yeah.
Get it in
just
there.
Just like how they like as a joke. I remember when I Criterion shopped with Carlos, Blair, and Mike, how they slid Boyhood into my stack of maybes. I'm like, get it away, get it away.
Anything but that.
Yeah. To be honest, the best part of the new Criterion Hall video to me was Blair yelling about Solaris and defending Solaris. Picks, and then Blair was just in the background. It's like, no, you picked up that goddamn Criterion.
That is a must buy in my opinion, Solaris.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah. But anyhow, I think that about does it for this Criterion cast. I mean, we're all unfortunately July is wrapping up. I wish it was longer, and I think we're all gonna do a haul coming up. Not a filmed haul, but we're gonna go to Barnes and load up. So I'm personally very excited to go waste $100 at my local Barnes and Noble.
Hell yeah.
I haven't bought anything this season. I'm saving it all for the video I'm going to do with Carlos.
Oh man.
Shit.
It's like you withheld all of your Criterion urges and now you're going to go ham at this one video. Are you going to buy like 200 titles or something? Just go insane?
No, but I do have $100 worth of Barnes and Noble gift cards. So I'm thinking I'm at least going to get 10 titles.
Damn, dude. He's gonna Criterion come all over the place.
Criterion climax everywhere. I can't wait to see the video. And of course Bill is gonna release his very shortly, he says. So
yes, it's gonna be my biggest haul I've ever done for sure. Because it'll already be biggest because I've saved all my all the films I bought for the flash sale. I still have them all saved in their wrappings, so I'm just going to include that with the Barnes and Noble haul that I do.
Oh, damn!
So it's like a two for one mega thing. Yeah,
nice. Love a twofer. I just hope you don't get kicked out or that lady doesn't come to tell you to stop filming in the bars.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll film it this time.
Yeah, just film it and just be a Karen because
go full Karen mode.
It's one of those deserved Karen moments, so people won't get mad at you if you get upset. Honestly,
if she kicks you out, you could be the woman on the airplane. Like that woman is not real.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
That rule is not real. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, yeah. Let's
wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Awesome.
Happy Criterion hunting. Obviously we got to plug everyone. Perry, I'm sorry that you missed the first segment of the show, but you came back strong with some really good picks. And like I said, everyone demanded you come back after the 70s episode. So glad you came back. Do you want to plug anything? Any parting lugubrious words from you?
I would just like to plug my Letterboxd. It's Cinema Savant, all one word. If you'd like to follow my Letterboxd, feel free to. And I'm actually very good about following people back. So don't think it'll just be kind of a one-sided relationship. I will follow you back. And also I would like to plug the Misfit Pond Discord for $5 a month. You have access. If you become a $5 patron to the Misfit Pond, you have access to the Discord. We have movie nights. We have weekly film discussions. It's just an incredible time. You will meet a huge community of cinephiles. For $5 a month, the Misfit Pond Discord is the most fun you'll ever have with your clothes on.
I swear to God, Barry's the best fucking Discord mod I could ever fucking ask for.
That was a hell of an endorsement.
Yeah.
And I didn't even talk about the trivia. We got trivia and Film Jeopardy. We play so many games.
Yeah, it's a really active fucking Discord with all kinds of shit going on all the fucking time.
Absolutely. Now, I was gonna say, Carlos, you can plug your Discord, but you don't have to. But anything else anymore? Anything else you wanna?
I guess I'll say, I am gonna make a video announcement for it. I've already kind of announced it in like a few months ago on just as a post, but I am streaming a film festival on my channel. It'll be streaming live in late October. So if anybody out there is a filmmaker or has films that they want to submit, you'll be able to find the link for it in the box below. You can only find it through the link. You can't search it on Film Freeway because Film Freeway doesn't allow public listings for online only film festivals, unfortunately. So if you know anybody that would like to submit, share this link around as much as you can on social media so that way people can know about its existence and submit. Last year was a whole lot of fun, and I am really looking forward to doing it again. So, and also I'm going to be making I'm in the process of producing another short film. This time I have an actual producer and a DP. So this is the first time I'm going to be like directing and having an actual crew, and the quality of this short is going to be like a big step above everything else I've done. So I'm like really, really excited to make that. And I'm going to be premiering that at the very end of the festival. After I give all the awards out and everything, I'm going to be doing a live premiere of my short film at the very end, just to show it to everybody and get everybody's feedback. And that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of reading the script. That's the one you sent me, right? The one you're talking about?
Yep.
I had the pleasure of reading that script, and I think it's going to be a fantastic short. So definitely look out for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, Discord, all that good stuff. Bill, subscribe to Bill Griff on YouTube if you want more Criterion content. Thanks for coming back. I think this is your third time, so thank you for
yes, sir,
gracing us with your beautiful voice again.
The only thing I can plug is watch War and Peace on 4K on YouTube.
I will. You got me hyped up with your whole sentiment about that movie, so I will.
Well,
when I got 8 hours.
Then I'll go ahead and do it. Subscribe to Bill Griff's channel on YouTube. He is, I mean, to me, he is the better Criterion Hall person. Everybody likes to praise me, but honestly, Bill Griff is like my go-to person when it comes to Criterion videos. He is leagues better than me. He's really informative, and he's a funny motherfucker. So please go subscribe to the channel. He has a lot of amazing stuff on there.
You and me, Carlos.
Love you and me, Bill. Love you too, dude.
I love your halls. Okay, Carlos is actually the true godfather of Criterion halls. I know he's saying like whatever that I'm good, but Carlos clearly is the godfather of YouTube Criterion trips. and he's got a very eclectic arrangement of friends that help him out, like the great Perry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a good time to see. Yeah,
he's the secret ingredient for
the secret ingredient. He's Chemical X.
You guys are both the godfathers of Criterion halls, to be fair.
Yeah, we got to watch out for Daisuke. Now that he's in the US, he's coming for our asses.
Yeah. He's going to do a Yakuza hit on both.
It's a gang war has started. Yeah.
Stay out of my territory.
Yeah. He's coming to California too, so I got to watch out.
Oh God.
He's coming for your ass.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. Thank you guys for doing this. Subscribe to the Cinebums on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Check out our website where we're trying to do more blog stuff. And yeah, we'll look out for the best of the 2010s whenever we're going to do that. We just couldn't get the scheduling right, but we'll get it right. We'll get that out so we could finish off this whole decade thing. But happy Criterion hunting. Thank you all for listening. Have a good one.